阿弥陀佛啊！大家好，各位上师、
Amitabha,
教授师、
greetings to everyone,
法师、助
all
教
levels of Dharma
以及透过
propagators,
Zoom、YouTube、
and
Facebook
those
在线
watching
上的朋友
over
们，大家
YouTube,
好！
Zoom,
欢迎
Facebook.
大家再次回到
Greetings to everyone.
真佛
Welcome
宗网络大学的
to
真
Tripura
佛密法
School
二的课程。
Online
感谢你
University's
们选择在
course,
繁忙的一天里留一点
and
时
we
间
thank you
自
for
己休息、静心。我是今天
taking
的
time
导
off your
师，
busy schedules
莲花
to
享福主
attend
教。
today's lesson.
今晚与大家
I'm
共
today's
同
host,
行。
Dharma Assistant
在课
Lianghua
程正式
Xianfu.
开启之前，
Before the class
先
officially
与大
begins,
家说明几项课程的提醒与贴心
let
的
me
服务。
remind everyone
第
some
一，课程
provide some
课
gentle
程后
reminders to it
有
to
诗语自
regarding the
我
class.
环节。
There's
今
a
天课程结
Q&A
束后，
segment at the end
将
of the
有师娘
class,
来上师亲自为大家解
and we
答
will
问
invite
题。
Master
优先回
to
答上周还没有
answer the
回答的
questions,
问题。
and we will
课
first
程中欢迎积
begin
极
with
留言，
questions from last week's lesson,
课后也
and
可以透
then
过
continue with lessons
WhatsApp 群组
that
提交
are raised today.
起诉交流。第二个，
And
提
we
醒内
welcome
容，
everyone to
请与课
interact
程主题
in
相
the
关，
WhatsApp
为了
channel.
解答更聚焦，也请大家将提问的内容聚焦于今天的课程，避免离题。
Please
第
kindly
三
make
个
sure
是
that
我
your
们要将
questions are
会同
related
台
to
直
the
播，
content of
本
the
课程
lessons.
同步于 Zoom、YouTube、Facebook 直播，并提供中文、英文、印尼文3种语言的同步翻
And
译。
the lessons
在
are
更多的
conducted
同
in 3
步翻译
languages,
依靠授
original
权。
Chinese, English, and Indonesian.
我们课后也将提供回放连接，方便
We will
学
also
习。
provide links to
我们也
the
有课程
recordings
中
of the
结合课
lessons
程的
after
重点
after the lesson
和
ends.
简报，做大家温故知新。欢迎大家加入真佛宗网络大学的 WhatsApp 群组学习
We
群，
welcome
接受
everyone
共同
to
互
join
动
the
共勉。
TBSOU WhatsApp
接下来，
channels
让我们回到我们今天的课程主题。
to share your
我们
insights
今
and
天进行于
essays.
第4章的学习，主题是
Today's
修本尊法的重
lesson
要考
is the
节
third
3。
part of
这是一个直下直
lesson
下的重要
1-10,
环节，
part 10 of
将带
chapter
领我
1
们在
on
修
Yidam
持
Yoga,
本尊法的道路
about the
上
keys to
进一
cultivating
步
Yidam
深
Yoga,
化身
which will
口
allow us
意
to
三业
further
行义。
purify our body, speech, and mind.
莲生活佛曾经慈悲开示
Living
说：
Buddha Lian Sheng once
本尊
shared
物理即心，
that the Yidam
其
is not
实
apart
就
from
是
our
本尊。
mind,
这
and
句
our
话
mind is
看
the
似
Yidam.
简单，却是修行
This
人一辈
sentence
子的
seems
修
simple,
行
but it's
和修
actually
炼。
something that we need
现
to
在我跟大家分享一个小
follow
故事，是
throughout
观
our
世音菩
lifetimes.
萨与镜子的
Let me
上
share a
故
little
事。
story about Avalokiteshvara
相传
Bodhisattva.
有一位修行人，
There was
每
once a
日持诵
cultivator
观世音菩萨圣号，
who would
但是
recite
心里
Namo
奇想，离不
Avalokiteshvara,
开的、关不住的野马，一会又
but
想
his
到
mind was
晚餐的火锅，一会
like
又
a
想
wild
到，
horse.
哎呀，我
He would
上
think
个月
about
账单还
what
没
to
有
eat
交，
for the next
甚
meal,
至
or
昨
he
天晚
hasn't
上
paid
听
his
的电视剧
bills,
都会闯进
or
佛
even
号念珠
scenes from
万
the TV show that he watched the
一
previous
堆
night
一
would
粒的
appear
佛，
in his mind.
外面却比住家还多。这一夜，他终于忍不住，跑
Finally, he
去
was
找一
unable
位长
to
老，比
um,
起口
bear it,
诵
and
圣
he
号，心
consulted
里
an
却杂
Ayushmat
念纷飞。
or an elder
观世
that
音
although
菩
he
萨会
recited
不
the
会给我
name
唱一
of
场？
Guan Yin's
不会来
name,
与
but
我相
he was
应
unable
吗？
to calm his mind or
听着
pacify his
我
mind.
说完，自己的脸都已经长得通红通红的。长老听了，
So
笑
after
眯眯的
the
给他递了一面
elder
镜子，
heard this,
来，
he
你
showed
对
him
着
a
镜
mirror.
子，
Look at the
一遍
mirror
遍的观世音菩萨
and recite
圣号。
the
修行
name,
人
the
一
sacred
边
name
念
of
一边看着镜子
Avalokiteshvara
里的
Bodhisattva.
自己的
So when
大
this
白脸，
cultivator
声音也
looked
清
at
清
the
楚
mirror
楚，
and
细致
he saw his image
他
clearly
很
and
疑
heard the
惑的
sound of
想：
his
这不
voice,
就是我自己吗？长老说：
he
是
realized,
啊，
isn't that himself?
这面镜子不会向你吵，它只
This
是
mirror
无视
wouldn't,
的
the
大
elder
白
smiled and
脸。
said,
你
the
诚
mirror
心念
wouldn't
佛
think
时，
that you are too noisy.
观世音菩萨就在你心中
And
现
Guan Yin
前。
is in your mind.
你如果
And
念着
if
念
you
着，
recite
心里去最赞
the
叹
name of Guan Yin
追火锅，菩萨也只能望尽兴叹。可
and
惜
the
啊，
discursive thoughts appear
现
in
在
your
不
mind,
念佛，心却去追有缘见处。修行人手中念珠特眼一尘，原来不是菩萨不显应，是自己总把自己对作了红尘。原来本尊从不曾离开，而
and
是
he
自己的
realized that the
心念
Yidam has never
散
been
乱
apart from
走
himself,
远了。
but it's just that the mind
修
has
本尊
wandered
法
very
也
far
是
away.
如此，不是本
And the
尊不
practice of
存
Yidam
在，
yoga
而
is
是我
also
们的
similar.
心
It's not that the
还没
Yidam
真
doesn't
正
come,
看见。
but it's because our
今
minds are
天
not
这
able
堂
to see.
修本尊法，心要
Today's
大解
lesson,
散，
the
正
keys
是要
to
带领我们
cultivating
学会
Yidam yoga
转心
is about
向内，
helping
把
us to
那面
transform
照
our
见
minds
自信的境界好
and
好擦亮，照
to
见
clean
原
that
来本
mirror
尊
that
就
allows
在
us
我
to
们
see
心中。
ourselves clearly, to
这
see
次
that the Yidam is
在
in our own
西凉来
minds.
上师的带领
And
下，
now
我
let's
们都
invite
更
Master
能靠
Lian
近那
Lai
条
to
回归本性，以
help
自
us
信相
return
应
to
的
our
白
original
莲。
nature
此时此刻，我们将正式进入今晚的
and
法
let's
教时
formally
光。
enter
愿
into
我们
the
齐
class
心
today.
合掌，
Let's put our
安
palms
静心
together
性，
reverently
恭请允许
and
本
respectfully invite
课程的主讲导师
the
思
teaching
量来
master of the
上师，
lesson,
同时
Master
也
Shilian
欢迎
Lai,
我们
and
尊敬
also
的院
welcome
长莲花城主上师
our
以及在
distinguished
座的
Master
各
Gao
上师、
Chengshu,
各
the
位
TBF
上师、
chairman, and
小上
also
师、
Master
大
Lian He,
上
the
师
director of the
以及
TBF education
主教，
department,
以及在线
and
上的
various masters,
所有的
senior
为
reverends,
修法
reverends,
服
Dharma
务的
instructors,
大
Dharma
家好。
assistants, and all
现在，
Dharma
请
siblings.
大家在聊天时刷起888， 一起
Please
欢
type
迎
in
东
888
西
in
凉来
the
上师
chat window
为大
to
家
express your
提供
welcome to the
授
teaching master.
修本
Thank
尊法
him or show our
要
appreciation
口
for
诀三，
his
下面
teachings.
有请西莲来善师为我们授课。
好，谢谢主持人，我们一起恭敬合掌。
Thank you, host, and let's put
我
our
们一
palms
心
together
祈请根
reverently
本传承
and
上师
pray
圣
to
地
our
本
lineage
尊
root guru,
佛，
His Holiness the Big
一
Buddha
心祈
Liansheng.
请真佛中历代传承祖师，
Wholehearted
一
homage
心祈
to
请
the
阿
lineage
达
gurus
法
of True
佛，
School,
一
to
心
our
祈
Dharma
请
Buddha,
莲花生大士，
Lama
一
Sambhava,
心祈请金刚萨埵，
Vajrasattva.
一心祈请三根本，
Wholehearted homage to
一
our
心
three
祈请
roots,
坛城三宝，
to the
祈
triple
求佛
gem.
光加持，
We
让我
pray for
们
your
学
great
习一
blessing
切
light
吉祥圆满、心
for
开
this
智
lesson to
慧。
be
我们
auspicious
手持莲
and
花，同
insightful.
持手印，持上
Let's
师
form the
星座
Pama
宝座
Kumara
七地
Mudra
红，
and recite
唵
the
咕噜莲
mantra
生
7
悉
times.
地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红，唵咕噜莲生悉地红。好，谢谢大家哦，大家晚安。我把这
Thank you,
个
everyone. Good
主持
evening.
棒再交回给我们的主持人。
Let me hand over the baton back to the host.
主持人忘记开麦。
Your mic is not on.
好，我们回到上一个星期的提问。
Let us go to the
好的，莲
lessons,
花明海
questions from
里
last week
阿弥陀
from Lotus
佛
Minghai
供养经论
Amitabha
最简单标准就是既仅能吃能用的财
regarding
物
offerings.
供
The
养。
most
那
basic
么现在很
standard
多
would
火
be
供里
what
面
we
的
can eat
假
and
贡
use
品
and we offer.
是否就是引
But
起未
what
知
about
之
the
故？
fake
好的，
offerings that
主
are
持人
being
来讲
placed in Homa fire
谢谢。
offerings now? Does that mean that
好的，
these
这
are
个问
fake
题是一个
offerings?
非常好的例子，拿来学
This
习
question is
事
a
故
great
跟典故
example
的。这个问题其
to
实出
understand
在于
Kriya and
它的事故
Charya
方
Tantra.
面还不完全的
In terms
诶
of Kriya
圆满
Tantra,
哦，还是有点差距。假
Shibu,
如你
it's
用
still not
供
very
养法
perfect
的
and
师
complete.
傅来
If you're
看这个
thinking
问题的
about in
话，你
terms
其实
of
心里已经
offering
有答
in
案
the
了。
Kriya Tantra
请问
stage,
在
you would
供
already
养
have the
法的
answer
师
in
傅
your
里
own
面，
mind.
师尊教导我们的是怎么样？
What does
首
Grandmaster
先
teach
要
us
先借你
about
的手
this?
印，要
First,
把供品
form
变
the
活，
mudra
然
and
后再
then
供养
visualize
给
the
所有
offerings
的诸尊
multiplying,
佛菩
and
萨护
then
法
these
神。
are offered to
请
all
问
the
这里面有
deities.
说一定要
Does
供
it
养吃的
say
吗？没有
that
嘛，对不对？
within this
师傅
is
并没有这
there,
个
does it
要
say
求。
that
所
the
以
offering
你
items need to
假如在
be
供养
food?
法里面，你一直用师傅
So
来修的话，你当
if
然会产
you,
生更
when
多
you're
衍
doing
生更多
offering and
类
you
似
are
事
only
故
doing it
的
from the Kriya
问题。这
Tantra
只是你
perspective,
这个问题
it
不是
might
师
only
傅
lead
的
to
问
more and
题。
more questions.
你
So
假
this
如有
question
把
is
它
a
慢
Kriya
慢
Tantra question.
升级，不是升级，提升到醒悟的
If
话，
you
你会
elevate
了
it
解
to the
供
Charya
养
Tantra stage,
法
then you will understand
不
that
只是
regarding offering
以物
sadhanas,
质的观点来
it's
供
not
养，
just
也有
about
以非
material
物质
offerings,
的，慢
but
慢
there are
延伸
also
到什么
non-material
心供，
offerings.
心供就是从
For
心里
instance,
面供养的，
offerings
然后
from
慢慢
of the
就
mind,
进入这个法供，
and
它有
then
秘密的
offerings
供
of
养。
Dharma, and then
因
secret
为这个
offerings.
问题本身是在
So
事
this
部这里，
question
事
is
部你
at
一
the
直
Kriya
要
Tantra level,
要
Shibu,
衍生问题的话，它
and
就会变得
so
复杂，所以师
it
尊
can
每
be
次
very
都会感
complex
慨说，
and
每次他传了一
lead
个
to
法
many
供，
more
大
questions.
家都
So
会有
Grandmaster
很多问
often
题。本来
laments
只是说
that
要三支
when he
香，大家
transmits
说三支
a
香要什么
sadhana,
香，然后有
and
什么
then
颜
it will
色，要多
often lead to a
少，
lot of
然后
questions.
供
Like
养
if
汤
Grandmaster
丸
teaches
要
you
多
only
少
need to
颗。 请
light
问这
three
些都是
sticks
属
of
于
incense,
事
and people will
物
start
的
asking, oh,
问
what
题，
color?
而
And
且你要
then
明
what kind
白，
of
在
incense, etc.,
所
etc.
谓的火供就是我们讲的
So
附
when
魔，密
we
教的
talk
附
about
魔。
Homa or
一
fire
般假
offerings,
如你有机会修到附
usually
魔这
if
个
you
小
have the
事的话，
chance to
你要
cultivate
注意，
homas,
你不
then
应
you
该
have
有
to
产生
start
这种
taking
问
note
题，
or paying
因
attention
为你
because you
的
shouldn't have this
供
sort of
养法的
question
师父
at
至
this
少要
time
进入醒悟，你
because
应该
you
明白
have
发生什么
to
事情。假
already
如你说
enter the
供养
Charya
假
Tantra
的东
stage
西
and
不
know
行
what's
的
going
话，
on.
我跟
If
你
you think
说，
that
你把
offering
一
fake
个
items is not
苹
possible,
果变成10个
then
苹果，这个也不是假的吗？你的9个
think
苹果
about
不
it.
是
If you are
假的吗？为
visualizing
什么
one
连几
apple
个苹果
multiplying
都
to
可以？
10
偏偏
apples,
这
then
个
isn't
本来
that
就是
also
越
illusory
越假
or
修
fake?
真，而且附魔
So
里
we are
面的
borrowing
你修附魔里
the
面
fake
的时候，
to
这个
cultivate the
归在
real.
下2个课啊，就是
And we
这个
will
本尊
go
法结束之
into
后，就到了
this topic
天供
of
法，
Homa
接下来就是附魔
after
法，就是有年龄上
going
师来教
after
导。
this
你
chapter
要明
ends and the
白，
next
在
chapter is
附魔
smoke
法里面的
offering
供品其
and
实都
then
有
the chapter
观
after that
想，
will
才
be
有
about
它的
Homa.
对象的。当你明白
So
了观
Homas
想没有
also
对
have
象的
their
时候，你根本会把
visualizations
它
and
跟
their
你
merit
讲的这个
dedications.
观点来去
So
看
then
就
you will
可以
not
了。
think about whether they are
所以这个
illusory
是
or
个非
real.
常好的
So this
问
is a
题来
great
让大家明
example or
白
a great
为
question
什
that
么会
helps
出
us
现
to
这个
understand
这个疑惑。
why
这个是属于四部
this
的疑惑。
question
只要你明白顶
exists.
部的
So this
话，这个
question is
四部的疑
from
惑是我们
at the
看通
level
的。
of Kriya Tantra. Once you have entered Chara Tantra,
好的，谢谢
from that perspective,
上
this
师。
question would no longer be
还
relevant,
还
or
有呢，
you would no longer have this sort of
下面一
question.
个问题
The
是
next question,
肖尔问的，他说：“请问上师，系家
um,
行修了一
I have
段
already
时间，
cultivated the four
可以
preliminaries for
说
a
要高
period
级
of
版
time.
本上
Can
师
I
先
practice the
进
Pama
进
Kumara,
家
Root
行
Guru
的上
Yoga,
师，
and
好吗？
Vajrasattva
请师解
combined
答，谢谢。”
Vajrashitta Bodhisattva's combined practice?
这个和修法启示
This
是师
combined
尊
practice
曾经有讲过，不只
was
是莲花童子跟
taught
根本上师相
by
应法，
uh,
就是
regarding this
除了
combined
莲花
practice,
童子
Grandmaster
跟金
has
刚经菩
mentioned
萨可以
not
合
only
修
is
之外，
there a combined practice
也有
of
本
Pama
尊
Kumara
跟
and
上师
Vajrachita
相应法
Bodhisattva,
合修的
there's
这个
also
四
a
部。
Guru
所以在四
Yoga
部来
and
讲，
Yidam
没
Yoga
有人会
combined
阻止
practice.
你去修，
So in terms of Kriya
可是不
Tantra,
代表你
people
的次第
cannot
高，
stop you from
懂了意
practicing
思
it,
吗？很多
but
人
it
以为
doesn't mean
说
that
我
your
修的法
level
越
is
复
high.
杂，我
So
的
some
次第
people
高
think
不是。
that the more
假如你的
complex
次
their
第在
sadhana
四
is,
部的
then
话，就算
their
你修安巴
level
阿
would
麻
be
佛
higher.
本尊
So
法，你的次
that's
第
not
也
the
是
case.
在四
For
部。
instance, if your
假
level
如
is
你
still
本
at
身是在
Kriya
四部
Tantra
的话，
level and you
你
practice
可以
the
自己修和修。
Adharma Buddha
这是我
sadhana,
的
your
观
level is
点
at
哦，
Kriya
在
Tantra
讲
level.
一
So
般的
this is
观
my
想。我
personal
的观点
perspective.
是，你
It's
先把自己的四
so
部
I would
先
recommend that
做
you
好，
first
自己
have a
在
strong
大礼
foundation
拜
in the
大共
Kriya
享四
Tantra
部一部
in
分，你
terms
就
of
已经
the
做出，
four
你就接
sorry, in
受
terms
了，
of
而不是修了
have a
一
strong
段
foundation in
时
the
间。
four
不是，
preliminaries.
只有我们之前上个礼拜
It's
提
not
到的这个
about
成
it's not
四
just
本
about
尊有，
durational
你就给自己一
prac
段时间说好，
um
我成
which
四
last week we
上
mentioned
师，
about
就是你成四师尊，你还没有修上师相应法，或者你
durational,
说我
like
先
when we're
持上师行
making
做一
offerings or
年，一年
devotion
完之后
to
我再
our
合
Yidam,
修，可不可以？
like one
可以。
practicing
你这个
something for
观
one
点的
year
话，
and
跟
then
四
after
部的
completing it,
做法
then
是
we move
允
on to
许
the
的。
next
比如
level.
你讲修了一段时间，可是你的一段时间并没有条件的，你那一段时间是怎么
But
样
there are
来
certain
就是设
other
定？
requisite
在
conditions.
上个星
So
期
in
有
this
讲到有
question,
3种嘛，一个
what
就是你在
are
沉思的过
what
程
are
当
your
中，不
other
管多
conditions?
久，
So
反正你在
when we talk about
做这
devotion or
个
service, it's not
沉思
there are remember
上
last week
师
we talked
相
about
应
three
法
kinds.
持咒的时候，
So
一
there is
出现梦
seeing the
中梦到
Yidam
师
either
尊，
in
或者
dreams
有出
or
现有
or
消
seeing
业障
Guru
的
in
现
your
象，
dream
或
or
者有些
in
瑞
real
相，
life
那
or
你
in
知道
samadhi.
已经允许了，
So
那你就合
this
修。
is a
这个
sign
是我的
of
观点。我再跟你
like
们分享另外一个观
agreement
点，
or
这个是
consent
长
to
老跟
or
我分享当初
any
师
allowing
尊
you
怎么
to move
教
on.
导
So
他
this is
们
something that an
这些
Ayushmat
教导
shared
上
with
师
me
们
in the
怎么去
past,
看待这个合
or shared with
修
master
跟单
masters
修
and
的这个
like
关系
how
啊。
we should
就是一般来说，我
regard
都会公布这个
cultivation.
长老的名字哦。我长老每次
So
都说我，你说都
you
说好了，为什么要把名字说出来？竟然还有这样的说法，所以我都不会说他是谁了哦。不是我不
So
恭
I will
敬他
not
哦，是
reveal
他说不
the
要每次
name
都
of
讲
the
他名字出
Ayushmat
来。他
who
是这样
prefers
分
not
享
to
跟
be
我
named.
说的哦。他说
So
当
the
初他
Ayushmat
们也是有
said
启示
that
过师尊这个观点，师尊是这样
at
说：
the beginning,
你可以合修，
Grandmaster told them
可是你
you
合
can
修
do
之后没有
combined
感应的
practice,
话，你还是
but
要回
if
来修
you
单
don't have
修。
any yogic
你不要以为
unions
你
when you
你
practice
合
that,
修
then
了
you
之
still
后
have
你
to
不是
go back
你
to
合修后
cultivate.
发现还是
If
没有
you
感
if
应
you
的
do
话，
a
你要回来单
combined
修，
practice
不
without
要
any
不要把它
yogic
合
unit
修
after some time,
哦。
then you
这
must go
是
back to
我之前
practicing each
在
sadhana on
长
it
老那
by
里得
itself.
到的讯息，
So
跟
this
大
is
家分
something that
享。
I learned from an
谢谢。
Ayushmat.
好，谢谢上师，明白了。那么
So that's the end of questions from the last week's lesson. And let's continue with today's class.
好，谢谢主持人。
Thank you, host.
这个星期的课程有
For
稍微
this
的
week's lesson,
需要找我们的助教、美儿助教来帮
I
忙做一
need
个互
help
动。
from
等下我会问
Dharma
一些
Assistant
问
Mayor,
题。当然，假如你们要参与的话
where
也
I
欢
will
迎，可
ask
是我是担心我
questions
来不及看你们的留言哦。
and
我们可以一起
to make
回
it more
答到第
interactive.
4步还是5
So
步。
if you want to participate, you're also welcome, and you can answer whether you can identify what is Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra. The more easily you're able to identify whether something is Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra stage, then the better you are able to assess your own situation. So before we get into that, let's again revise the 9 stages or 9 yanas of the Great Perfection. So the outer 3 yanas are Sravaka yana, Prayaka, Buddha yana, and Bodhisattva yana. So Shravakas are mainly about learning a mind of renunciation. They learn about suffering and the causes of suffering, and they develop a mind of renunciation and to gain liberation. Prayaka Buddhas are those who are able to observe the nidanas, observe the laws of causality. They understand karmic cause and effect and causes and conditions. So, however, this can also be cause hindrances because these sorts of cultivators are very sensitive to karmic cause and conditions. And for instance, Grandmaster shared that he once sat on a Dharma throne where the Dharma throne actually had something sharp that caused Grandmaster to bleed. And so Grandmaster knew that this place would have something would happen at that cultivation venue. So if you only know how to look at all these omens or signs, then it may be a hindrance. But when these things happen or indications that something negative might happen, it doesn't mean that you must be aware that it doesn't lead to superstition. You need to be able to respond to the situations effectively, even though there are these negative indications. You need to use your wisdom to analyze, so that to prevent these negative indications from being causing you to be superstitious. So if you move on to the Bodhisattva stage, you learn about precepts, you learn about the inner cultivation of forbearance and diligence, as well as samadhi and wisdom. And the outer cultivation of generosity and so if you don't have wisdom and then you are able to see that in the invisible realm, then you might become too attached to these signs or what you see. So it's a little bit like, even if you see Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, this very wealthy person. If you see Bill Gates, doesn't mean that he will necessarily give you money. If you see him and I see him, if you are closer to him and you ask him to give you $1 million and he gives you, but if I ask him to give me $1 million, will he necessarily give it to me? So I'm using this as an example. The outer 3 yanas are also known as the small vehicle and the great vehicle. So the small vehicle is Shavaka, the great vehicle is Bodhisattva. And when you know all these, then you enter into the inner 3 yanas, which simply described it has a model or a system. You have to take refuge. Refuge in a tantric root guru is definitely within the inner 3 yanas. If you haven't taken refuge in a tantric root guru, then you will not be in the inner 3 yanas. So how did this come about? Lineage gurus in the past, who became accomplished adepts, they help their students to learn key points. So they set up a series of steps, a sequence of steps, so that you will be able to figure out for yourself through the cultivation of these steps, what is cultivation about. So then when you follow these steps, you will be able to see what are your problems. So for example, the question at the beginning of the class, about why can we offer fake items? Does that mean that the lineage gurus or guru are wrong? But they have told us that as long as we feel that this thing is very good and something valuable, we can offer it. And it doesn't mean you go to the supermarket and you think to yourself, I am going to offer all the items in the supermarket. I know that some of you have read Grandmaster's books in the supermarket he would do that. But a few years ago, he told Master sitting at the main table that in the past he did that, but in the beginning, but now he knows that it's actually not allowed. So we were all very surprised because the master said in the past. And then Grandmaster said, because those items do not belong to me. So when we offer items, we need to offer items that belong to us. So if we are not able to afford the items, if we're not able to afford the items, then we offer items that are within our means. So the lineage gurus know that if we do certain things in a certain way, there will definitely be lineage empowerment or blessing. So in terms of the Kriya Tantra stage, there will be a feeling of you are not able to see the Yidam, and you're not even able to sense the Yidam, but you are just purely carrying out the offering Siddhana for the sake of carrying out the offering Siddhana. And you do not know whether the Yidam has arrived, you do not know whether the Yidam has blessed you, you're not able to see. So it's a little bit like the analogy of the guy giving the girl flowers, and it doesn't know whether the girl likes the flowers or not. So this is a little bit like so when you make offerings and then suddenly you have this feeling, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are able to see the deity, but you have a feeling, some sort of sense or sensation that, and then you can observe yourself. Maybe today you really put in your whole heart into making that offering, or you made an offering with great reverence, and this is when you catch the key points. This is when the offering Siddhana has transformed into empowerment, and you feel that empowerment from your Yidam. So this is when the phrase that Grandmaster used to describe this is the Yidam has seen you. And then at the end, it's you proceed to Yoga Tantra where you become one with your Yidam. So this Yoga Tantra, if you want to have yogic union with your Yidam, you need to know all the basic fundamentals so that you can quickly and easily attain yogic union. And the next part, the Supreme Three Yanas, Maha Yoga, not only have you attained yogic union, not only have you attained yogic union with the Yidam, but also with the Yidam's retinue and attendants, and the place that you live has become the Yidam's palace. and your surroundings are all related to the Yidam. And at this point, you're still using mudras and visualization. When there is a yogic union at this stage, then you enter Anu Yoga, which is the perfection stage. This is when you purify your qi channels and light drops. And you have to validate shunyata and validate bliss. If you only understand shunyata from wisdom, then it is still not a very firm cultivation. Then when you enter Adi Yoga, there is no fixed form of empowerment. This empowerment is of the great perfection, and it is at the level of Buddhahood. So this is a revision of the 9 stages or yanas of doctrine or great perfection. And let's take a look at this chapter from Book 272 on 所缘境, the chapter 8, 所缘境. So do you still remember this term? We mentioned Jing Xiang Yin, which is yogic union in terms of state or realm, which occurs when you start practicing from 所缘境, which are conditions which allow our minds to settle or focus. They are conditions or environments that allow our minds to become focused. You can use the function of your sight or your ears or your nose. I think the olfactory sense is a little harder because you can't keep the incense lit for a very long time. But if you're using music, for instance, to help you enter samadhi or meditation, it might be easier. If we're going by the 6 senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, taste, touch, mind. So Vajrasattva in this chapter shared 2 keys with Grandmaster. When trying to cultivate samadhi, don't fully close your eyes because your discursive thoughts, you would either have a lot of discursive thoughts, a restless mind, which is called 调举, or you would feel sleepy, which is 昏沉. So your eyes should not be fully closed, but they can be half closed. So you have some. This will allow your mind to focus in concentration. So is this Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra? So this key of not closing your eyes fully when you are trying to cultivate samadhi, is it Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra? So later on, when Vajrasattva tells Guru that when doing this, it will lead to concentration or focused mind that is not chaotic or then not distracted, that is Charya Tantra. Vajrasattva was very compassionate and revealed the answer. And Grandmaster asked again, are there other keys? And Vajrasattva said, observing 所缘境 is very important. So from this line, you will know that we're not using our eyes or our 5 senses to observe, but using the mind. First, you pay homage to the Yidam, and now you still have to pay homage to the Yidam. You're not able to see the Yidam now, so this seeing is is pertaining to visualization. But at the end, in the future you will definitely be able to see the Yidam. So there is a Dharma brother Chao Gui in Taiwan who passed away, and his Dharma sister wrote an article which was published in the True Buddha News. So the wife of this Dharma brother shared the story with me, and I was very moved when I heard this story because this Dharma brother is a Dharma brother who's a Dharma brother from Zhongguan Leizang Temple, and he is a great volunteer, very dedicated. But he had cultivated for a very long time, but he still had not seen any visions of Grandmaster or had not had any dreams of Grandmaster. So he felt that he had not cultivated very well. But last year or the beginning of the year, he was diagnosed with the end stage of cancer. And before he passed away a few months, or at the end, when he was nearing the end, the final moments in the hospital, he suddenly cried out that, oh, Grandmaster has come, and his wife thought that, are you hallucinating? And then she asked, do you know who am I? And the Dharma brother replied and told her name, and was also able to identify the children's names. And the doctor and nurses said that they have never seen an uncle who is so excited about passing away. And he actually told them to discharge him from hospital so that he can go home quickly and to pass away at a certain time. So he was able. So when he went home and around 7 p.m., after seeing his children had got off from work and gone home and he had seen all of them, he passed away. So at the time that he had known about. So don't be disappointed if you're not able to see Vajrasattva now. So this is a testimony from Dharma brother Chao Gui, who people might think that they have inferior roots, but actually it turns out that he has good roots. So there's another article, chapter 9 from the same book 272. Whether it's Shenzhen Pai or Guangxing Pai, I can teach you a kind of visualization. So Shenzhen Pai is a tradition that cultivates based on profound views. So they are using wisdom. And the other tradition, which is called Guangxing Pai, which literally translates to great action, is using the means of bodhisattva or bodhicitta to cultivate. So it's a little bit like Shiqi in Taiwan, where they practice generosity, doing great charitable works and things like that. And the last one, Shixiu Jiaqu Pai, uses sadhanas, meditation, and the practice of sea channels and light drops, tantra, etc., to practice and cultivate. So Vajrasattva told Grandmaster that a lot of people think that I want to transform into mountains or wind or fire in my samadhi, but Vajrasattva told him that if you are able to merge with your Yidam, this is already very deep, profound meditation. And one is cultivation of meditation, is meditative stability. So you can try this method just by applying this method, you can enter very profound and deep meditation. So this is Charya Tantra. because Chara Tantra refers to the keys of practice, whereas Kriya Tantra refers to steps of Tantra. So it's like Kriya Tantra refers to you're just doing the steps, but you don't necessarily know why you're doing them. And then Chara Tantra is the meaning of the cultivation, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how to go about it, the steps of how to proceed with the practice. So look at this next article, chapter 43 from book 272. The question is, where does the Yidam abide or dwell? And the answer, I think that there are two. The first is the Yidam's pure land, and the second is the cultivator's innermost heart, or the deepest parts of one's mind. But this answer is not necessarily accurate because it can be said that the Yidam is everywhere, is omnipresent. So if you are relying on an external Yidam, for yogic union, this is outer yogic union. But only when there is outer yogic union and inner yogic union, when these two merge, then there is true yogic union. So the Yidam's pure land refers to the outer Yidam, and the yogic, the Tantrika's inner Yidam, this is the inner Yidam. The Yidam abiding in the cultivator's mind is inner yogic union. So you need to understand that there are three bodies of the Buddha: the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya. So that's so when we hold the Malapeit's visualization, some people will wonder, why do we need to visualize our left and right hand transforming to Vajra belt and scepter, the four Deva kings, the Yidam appears? If you know who taught Guru this Malapeit's visualization, you will not treat this lightly. Do you know where the lineage of this come from? This doesn't come from a lineage guru, but it was actually transmitted to Guru from the cosmic consciousness, who taught Grandmaster this visualization. So this is Kriya Tantra, Malapeit's visualization, because you don't know why you're doing this, but the steps are taught to you. So when the Yidam appears in the Malapeits, you will not have questions or doubts because the Yidam is everywhere. The Dharma body of the Yidam is everywhere. Why would you feel that something is amiss? And you should first ask yourself, is there something in my wisdom or level of understanding there's a shortcoming, or I have not fully understood or penetrated the meaning of the Tantra? So Kriya Tantras are not to reveal shortcomings of the lineage gurus, but they are to reveal the shortcomings of the cultivator. It would show you what are the parts that you do not understand. If you're able to understand the reasons why you're doing certain steps, then you would be able, then congratulations. So do not have doubts regarding the sadhanas. It's a matter of the questions in your own mind, the shortcomings in your own thought processes. When you do the Malapeit's visualizations and you're able to transcend doubts, then you would be able to enter yogic union with your Yidam more easily. Because maybe some people might think, oh, my Yidam is so skinny or slender, then why am I so fat? Then how am I able to transform into my Yidam? But then think about Avalokiteshvara, who will appear in whatever form that the sentient being needs to receive teachings from, to be liberated by. It seems like I've neglected Dharma Assistant Mater and have not asked her any questions. So the second question is similar to the top. The question is, what is yogic union with the Yidam? And the answer, the Yidam in the cosmic space, the body of the cultivator, and the Yidam of one's own body and the Yidam within within the practitioner. Who actually is there anyone or are there any requisite requirements that the Buddha's Bodhisattvas need to look specifically, like have a Tibetan looking face or an Indonesian looking face?
你们不老了，就我啊，我老人家啊，你们是年轻的，你加进去的话，这个就是本尊相应。世尊在40年后再重新再讲解的时候，就比较更圆满了啊。
Later, when Grandmaster taught the Siddhana again, you can't say that Grandmaster didn't teach something in the past. It's because Grandmaster didn't reveal everything, because we were not so knowledgeable or not so wise at that point in time, so we would not be able to understand. So it's our problem, it's not Grandmaster's problem. We have to try to change our own perspectives. This next page question, can you provide some examples? The answer, for example, I have yogic union with Goda Mother. Goda Mother is like my mother. I have yogic union with Amitabha. Amitabha is like my father. I have yogic union with Kishigarbha. Kishigarbha is like my brother. So would this be Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra? This is actually neither Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra. This is actually Yoga Tantra. You have fallen into the trick question. Grandmaster's description, they have become like relatives, then you understand this is the level of Yoga Tantra. Okay. They will help cultivators. This line, which is highlighted in yellow, is very important. A lot of cultivators would say that they have attained yogic union with their items, but Grandmaster has made a key point. If you have attained yogic union and you pray for something, then for instance, if you pray for wealth, you will receive wealth. If you pray for something else, you will receive that something else. So even in terms of your wisdom, if you have attained yogic union, you should be able to understand what Grandmaster is teaching. If you encounter suffering, you will be able to transcend suffering. So this line will show you, for instance, if your Yidam will definitely be enlightened, and your Yidam will understand and will not be chasing external things. So if you
看到很正常啊，就好像人看到人一样啊。你跟人相应之后，你会到处跟旁边人讲：“哎，我看到黑人呢，哎，我看到白人呢，我看到印度人。”你会这样跟他说吗？不会啊。为什么你做人的时候，你不会跟旁边的人这样讲？
So,
因
for
为你觉
instance,
得
when you're
大
a
家都一样看到
human,
嘛，没有必要讲，对不对？可是
it's
本尊也
nothing
是一样啊。他
extraordinary
跟你
if you
合一的时
see
候，你能
um,
看到
another
他跟
human
你
on
的
your
心性
left
一样啊。
or
他没有
another
看过
human
要
on your
死的，
right, or
他没有看过金刚萨埵
I
吗？他会很大惊小
it's
怪。哎呀，我本尊
if your
我
Yidam
看到水看到
sees
水，不会的。哦，
medicine
我跟
Buddha
你讲
or
了，你们要
another
对号入
deity,
座。很
will
多同
they
门他们已经产生这灵觉的时候，都会讲看到什么看到什么。因
will
为你
they
正
mention it?
常的人不会，不要讲正常啊，我应该讲
So a
正
lot
常
of
的本尊不会说
cultivators or
这样的话
practitioners,
的，对不对？很
they
多
when
鬼
they
耶，很多
start
鬼耶，
able
拜
to
托，你本
see
尊没有看过鬼。
the invisible realm, and then they will start
鬼进来
saying
呢？
that
相
they
应的
can
话，你
see
的
such and
你
such
的智
deity or
慧、你
such
的
and
什么
such
应该就跟他一样。
being.
第一次看到我
Then
可以理解啊，
the first
不
time
要第二
you
次又
see
这么
it,
兴奋，第三次也那么
you
兴奋，那就不对劲
are
了啊。
excited
第一
because
次我
you
可以理
see it.
解啊，因为
I
这不
can
是新的
understand,
体
but
验，
it's because
可
it's
是
a
看
new
久了你就觉得
experience.
很正常的嘛，
But after you
对
are
不
able
对？
to see all these
所
things for a
以
long
这
time,
句
this is
话
very
帮助行
normal
者很重
and
要，一定要有作
you would
用。
not
你整天看
you don't
到都没
dwell
有
on
产
it
生作
or be
用，那
attached
你想看电
to
视怎么办？
this
没关
being
系。
a very remarkable phenomenon.
好，接下来
So the next
至尊论相应的
slide,
现象是什么？就像
Grandmaster
我写这
asks,
本
what
书是
are
可以跟
the
本尊对话，
signs
这
of
种亲
yogic
密关
union?
系如同
And the
夫妻
question
共
is just like
夫
me
妻
writing this
共
book,
共
I
勉
can
夫妻
communicate
快
with the
乐，
Yidam.
夫妻
I can,
亲
my,
姐
this
妹
sort
夫
of
妻情
intimate
景。请
relationship
问美
is
儿说
like
掉，这个是
spousal
师父
relationship
还是
or
师父？
uh, my father or my
这个
mother
是
or
瑜伽部，
relationship between
非常
siblings
好，各
or
位上当了。因为当你
relationships
知
with
道
a
他是瑜伽
soulmate.
部的时
Is
候，你
this
就可以
Kriya
把他
Tantra,
当做
Charya
师父来
Tantra,
修，
or
懂吗？
Charya
你
Tantra?
不会说
And
啊，我
Mayor
在讲
Tuzia
了，我要把他当
replies
成妈
that
妈，我要当
this
成
is
姐
Yoga
姐，不
Tantra.
对，因为这都不
Yes,
是
this
师
is the
父，
correct
这是
answer.
告
This
诉
is
你这是
Yoga
瑜伽部
Tantra
啊。然后
stage.
与本尊合一，永远在一起。有人说
If
夜夜
you're
心心
always
朝
with
朝暮
your
暮，真
idam,
的是要观想，每
like
天跟他睡
your
在一起，每天一起起来吗？请问美儿助教，这个是行部还是事部？
if so here Grandmaster writes your you go to bed with your
这个
idam
是
every
师
night
部，
and you wake up with your idam in the
因
morning
为我
in the
与
day.
本尊合一，
This
永远
so
的
is
不
在
this
一
是，
Kriya
起。
Tantra or
是瑜
Chara
伽
Tantra?
部，是瑜伽部。当
So
你已
Master
经跟他
replies
合
that
一的
this
时候，
is
你会有这种
also
感觉。
Charya
哦，来
Tantra,
的时候一
sorry,
起
not
起
Charya,
来，醒
Yoga
来的时候
Tantra,
一起醒来。
where
还
you
记得我
have
刚
the
才讲
feeling
本
that you
尊
fall
这个
asleep
上面不是有这个
with
这句
your
话吗？
together with your idam and
夫
you
妻共的
wake
本尊，行者
awaken
的自
together with your
身，
idam.
行者内在本尊。你老人家也是本尊啊，为什么你醒来一定要有一个仪式感？你觉得你假如本尊相应的时候，你还会有一个仪式感哦？等一等，我要变成本尊一起起来，不是？它里面起的这个观点其实是瑜伽部来的啊，而且还没有告诉你要怎么起来呀、这个不是四步
It's
啊。
not Kriya Tantra because it
好，
doesn't tell you how to do it, and it's
至
also
尊又
not
问：本
Charya
尊相应
Tantra
的不是服侍，是别
because it
人问
doesn't
哦。
tell
本尊
you
相应的人，除了
meaning.
帮自己，也能帮助他人吗？至尊回答：正是，
A
如
question on
是
this
尊。
page.
所以你要明白，假如你跟他相应的
Those
话，
who
我们
have
不是只单
attained
单看到他，
yogic
也
union
是
with
可以
their
请求他
idams,
帮忙
apart from
做
helping
做
themselves, can
正
they
念
help other
魔法，
people? I
帮忙
reply,
消除别人的这个
yes,
问
just
题，
like
帮助自己消除问题。
Grandmaster.
不只是在赋
So
予这种灵
note
觉上的
the
启动。
Yidam comes
好，至尊
from
且注
the
本尊
cultivator's
来自行者
own
内
Buddha
在
nature.
佛性。请问美
The
儿助
sentence
教，这个
highlighted in
心要
yellow.
口诀是哪
This
一步？
what what stage of Tantra would this fall under?
本
Let
尊
me
有人
合
ask
回
一，
答吗？你们，因为我看不到
Dharma
你们的
Assistant
留言
Mayor.
哦，所以不管这个 Zoom 我看不到你们的留言哦。
瑜伽
有人多
部，
留言啊？
瑜伽部，
不
Dharma
是，
Assistant
不
replies
瑜伽
是
部的话，你根本不
Yoga
会讲这
Tantra.
句话。这个是行部，他告诉你
This
重
is actually
点，
Master replies that this is
他告诉
actually
你重点，可是你不知道怎么
Singpo,
做啊。
which is
哎，进
Charya
来
Tantra,
本尊是全部是
because
我自己变出来的，可是怎么变
key
你不知道，但是
this
把
is a
重点
key
告诉你了，其实全部是
point,
来自
but it
你
doesn't
自
tell
己的
you
佛
how
性。
to do it.
你瑜伽部的
Um,
话，你连这个问题也不会问的，
and if
没
you're
有
at
这
the
个观
Yoga
点就
Tantra
可以讲
stage,
了
you will not even think
啊。
about
好，
this
哇，谢谢
point.
上司，
放心，
我学到
还有
很多了，
后面
感恩。还有吗？
还有，不可以这么轻易放过你哦。好，星光的附魔也是来自这本书哦，里面有很
Okay,
多星耀
another
口诀
chapter
跟莲
from
花
this
生大
book,
师的对话。可
272,
是这不需要
a
回去，这个
dialogue
就是
with
从上面
Pama
的那
Sambhava.
一节，莲花生大师也有讲，所有的本
Pama
质都是
Sambhava
自
said,
行
all
体现。
idams are the
所以
manifestations
这
of
个就
your
是行
own
部，这是
mind
他
or
重
heart.
点告诉你的。
So
你不
this
要
is
觉得那些是
Charya
来自外
Tantra
面的，
because it is
其
a
实是你
key.
自己编出来
It
的。
tells you the
外
inner
面的是
meaning,
借助你来
tells you inner meaning.
参
So
考哦，
you're
给你一个
you're
让
depending
你去
on
模仿，能把
external
自己内
circumstances
心
or
的那一个划
situations
线。所
to
以之前
manifest
在几
to
堂
help
课的
your
时
inner
候有提
Yidam
到，
manifest.
本尊法的口诀是可以互
The
通的，
key
因为他
of
们的目
the
的都
keys
一
of
样。
Yidam
还记得我讲
yogas
这句话吗？他们的
across
目的都
different
是一样
Yidams
的，就是要把你
they have the
内
same
在的那
goal,
个
which
佛
is
性
to help
显
your
现出
own
来。
Buddha nature
所以
manifest.
就本尊法口诀可以互通，可是其他
So
芥
the
末法
keys
不可以这
of
样，因为芥末法每一
um,
个的目的不一
Yidam
样。
yoga
所
can
以八大本尊虽然有分八大口
apply
诀，
to different
可是他
Yidams,
们的口诀可以
but
互通
this
的。
is
比
not
如说那个是属于某尊，
applicable for
如果
Kama
你要
Siddhanas.
契合那一个本尊的口诀的话，师尊有把这个口诀讲出来而已啊。好，来自智慧的光环，比较
The
旧的一
next
本书，一本文集，
chapter
宇
from
宙
book
一法一本
154,
尊。
the
师尊有
Aura of
讲，
Wisdom,
一法相应，法法都相应。
chapter
师尊讲，
63.
只要你上
If
师
you
相
attain
应，法
yogic
相应
union
了，
in one
所有的
siddhana, you
本
will
尊护
be
法
able to
会
attain
随着
yogic
上师
union
相
in
应而
all
欢喜下
siddhanas,
降。 请问美
and
儿助
all
教，这个是
deities
四
will
部
descend
还是
happily.
行部？
Is this Kriya Tantra or
这个是
or
瑜
Charya
伽部，
Tantra?
因为相应了与本尊在一起了。
不
Mia
是，
replies, Yoga
这个是
Tantra.
四部，他就是告诉你，你要修
Masanila
上师相应
replies, this
法，
is
你的本尊法还相应。所谓的那个 steps 啊，不一定是你
this
所谓的仪
is
轨，你懂吗？包括他告诉你要
Kriya
做什么东西。
Tantra. Kriya
这是
Tantra
四
doesn't
部。
just refer to
他说
ritual or
你
sadhana. It
要
it
做这
tells
个
you
上师
how
相
to
应
go
法，为
about
什
doing
么？
it, the
因为他会
procedure.
跟着上师相应而欢
Because
喜下降，
it's
这个就
about
是
if you
行
attain
部。
yogic union with
他就把
one
答案告
yidam,
诉你了。
you will be able
因
to attain
为
yogic
所有
union
的
with
本
other
尊护法
deities.
会因为上师相应而欢喜下降，这是行部。可是这个行部其实是有保留的哦，你不要以为所谓的行部答案只有一个，他这句话是有保留的，你要自己去慢慢体悟。为什么我上师相应
So
之后，
it's not revealing.
本尊护法会下降？这个可以给你慢慢
So
去
I think he might have
去
said
去观
Charya
察、去
Tantra
体悟的，因为它
because
行部不
it
是这一部
it's
分而
a
已哦。
key point. It's when
接下
you
来在
attain yogic
瑜
union
伽
with
里面
one
也是
deity,
也起到同
you
样
attain
的
yogic
观点
union
哦。
with many deities
所有的法
or
最
all
重要是
deities.
上师相
So
应法，
among
你
all the
能够修
siddhanas,
上
the
师
most
相应法
important
相应了，你
siddhana
修
is
本尊就能
the
够相应。
Root Guru Yoga.
请问
And
这
why is this the
句
most
我可以问的，
important?
大家已经知道，就是四步了啊。
Is
因为他告
you
诉你，你一定要把
so
上师
this
相应法这个
is
做出来，
Kriya
不然你的
Tantra.
本尊法不容易相应。你做到尽师才能中法。
This
请
is
问这个
sorry,
是
this is
哪一部
Charya
的星耀
Tantra.
口诀？请美儿助教回答。
做到静思才能重法，静思才能重法。
Okay,
行
there's a
部
line
上
at the
师
bottom
是
that
哪一部？
says that if you are
行部
able to respect your guru,
对，
then
非
only
常
then
好，
will
他
you
把
be will
重
you be
点
able
告
to
诉你
treasure
了。可
Dharma.
是怎么
So
做？
is this Kriya
老
Tantra
师
or
会
Charya Tantra?
会怎么做？就是
So
靠这个四事法无生受。
Master
四
tells
事
us
法
the
无生
answer
受就
is
是四
this
步，
is
告诉你怎么
Charya
做，你可以做
Tantra,
到尽
Singpu,
师。
because it
听得懂
tells
吗？
us
所
the
以有时
inner
候行
meaning,
部
but
告
it
诉你
doesn't
哦，
tell us
你做
how
很
to go
好就好，
about
你知
doing
道
it.
重点而已。可是竟然讲
You
了，
only
假如说
know the key points.
假如有四步的进师，你就知道怎么去做这个了。
But if there are
好，在密宗道次第
the
广论里
steps
面，
of how to
师尊又
respect the
讲了一个
guru,
星
then you
耀
know
口
how to
诀。
proceed
他
with
说本
doing
尊是
that.
无自性，你能够这样想，你就能够跟本尊融合为一。请问这个
The
是
sentence highlighted in
四
yellow,
步
the
还
yidam
是
is
行步？
also
上师这个是四步，
without
因
self
为
nature.
我能够这样子想，但是我还
If
没
you
有
are
跟
able
本尊
to
合
think like
家，
this, then
是
you
应
will
该
be
是
able
你讲
to
是还是行，一还是
merge
二？
with
四
your
步
yidam.
你讲
Is
一
this
还是
Kriya
二？我不
Tantra
明
or
白你在
Charya
讲什么。
Tantra?
一还是
一
二？
一
不是，
Master says this is Charya Tantra because you don't know the steps of how to attain without self nature. It tells you it tells you the key if you're able to think like this, which is referring to without self nature, you will be able to merge as one with your Yidam. What would be the Kriya Tantra of this key? Does anyone know? Okay, never mind. We'll wait for Trubra Foundation's Education Department to invite me to teach lessons in the future before I divulge the answer. Okay, never mind. I shall not keep it a secret. If you practice Trubra Tantric Dharma, you will naturally be able to
答案全部告诉你的话，你哪里会在专注在自己的修行上啊？对不
you
对？
will be able
然
to
后思想，
merge with
你
your
看狮
Yidam.
子做这个观想，你看狮子已经透露这个东西了。这个空
Brahma
性的想法
Suru,
也是有
you
好
have
处的，可以
to
解
do this
除你的烦恼
visualization
跟
at
消
all
除你的
times.
忧愁跟
And
厌
this
倦
mindfulness of
厌
shunyata
恨
or
这个
empty
仇恨的
nature
消息。
has its
你看这个
benefits
部
because
分
it can
是
help
口诀
you
来的吗？
to remove your
心要
afflictions,
口诀
clear
吗？
away your troubles and worries,
是
and
是
it
部
will
还是
also be
心
able
部？
to
行部
remove all your
非常
enmity
好。所
or
以第一，
hatred.
你要证明自己是无自性，你
Is
可以
this
用
Kriya
这个部
Tantra or
分来证
Charya
明。
Tantra?
假如你发现你修法的时候还是有一点，
You can use this as a way to assess your own
这
cultivation.
个疑惑啊，或者有一
If you
些
feel that you still have any
烦恼
doubts
啊，
in your
或者有一些
cultivation, or
还在
if you still
恨
have
找伤疤痕的
troubles,
事
worries
啊，那你知
in,
道你还没有达
or
到
you
无
still
自
have
性，
hatred in your mind,
你还是觉
then
得
you
自己
know
是
that
存
you have
在的，
not attained the
那你
level
就要
of
警惕自
without
己说，
self nature.
哎，
Then you
不
have to
行，我假
remind
如继续这
yourself
样的
that
话，我在
if
观想
I
跟本尊合一，
continue
本
like
尊也
this,
无
I
法
will
跟我
not
合一，为什
be
么？
able to
因
attain
为
yogic
本尊
union
是
with
无
my
自
Yidam,
性的，
because
我
the
现在
Yidam
让自己
is
有自
without
性的
self
唤醒，
nature.
我
If
没有
I
办法跟他合一。
am attached to
我
my
们要明白啊，我们只
self
是在
nature,
修行的过程当
then
中啊，是没有办法做到100%把所有的怨恨放下，
or
烦恼放
attached
下
to
的。
self.
可是你们可以尝试这样做哦。你
Although
们要
we're
修
not
法
able
是
to 100% do it
跟
now,
跟
we
自己讲一
can
下，
try to move in
你
this
说我不是不
direction.
要生气，我
Before
不是
you
不要
begin
烦恼，而是说
sadhana,
先让
you
我
can
在
tell
修法这个
yourself,
过程当
it's
中
not
啊，
that I
我
don't
先
want
不
to
要
be
出来先，你跟自己这样讲，
think
在
about
这
my
个过
troubles
程
or
当中
worries,
不要出来影
but
响
I
我。
will temporarily
我
not
修
think
完
about
法后，
them
我
and
再
not
回来
let them
想，
alone.
再来
After
去讨厌
I
这个人。
complete my
我告诉你啊，
session of
你修完法后，你
cultivation
会发
of
现，哎，
sadhana,
奇怪，好像没有那么讨
then
厌这个
I
人。
will continue to think
本来
about
很
that
烦的是讲，
problem
哎，
or issue.
奇怪，好像没有那
But
么
then
烦了。
after
刚刚
you
还没有修
finish your
法之前
practice,
蛮
then
烦的。
you
哎，
may
本
actually
来我
find
说是
that,
修
hey,
完法
actually,
之后再想这
this is
件
no
事的时候，
longer
哎，
a big
好像
problem,
没有那
or
么
you may have
其实
already,
你
or
是
you
因
may
为
not
在
feel
修
as
法的
troubled
过
as
程当
before.
中啊，
During the
被本
process
尊
of
所
your
说服，有对
cultivation,
他
the
说
Yidam
话
has
哦，
already
他的智慧跟
blessed
你
you,
对话
and
的，所以有时候你突然间会想
so
通一
you
些
have
事情。
increased
可是你
in
可以跟自
wisdom
己
and
讲的很
insight.
奇怪，明明知道是假的这
So
种信语暗
although
示，可
this
是反正都
is
蛮有效的。有时候呢，你跟自己
illusory
讲，
an
我这
illusory
个半个
way,
小时之
or
内，我不管
you're
怎么样，
just
我不要
hinting
想
to
别的东
yourself,
西。那么
or
半
but
个
it
小时之
actually
后，
has
我
an
继续看
effect.
我的韩剧，你会发现你那半小时特别专注的哦。你设立一个条件给自己修
So
法，
for
你会发现，
instance,
哎，
when you
你
set
不
certain
要是说
conditions
我
for
要
your
有
cultivation
时
of
候
sadhana, it
越
might
越
actually help.
压抑住自己的这种
The
烦恼跟欲
more
望啊，
you
有时
try
候
to suppress
越
your
越多会冒
desires
出
or
来。
troubles,
或
sometimes the
者
more
你们可以
troubles
用
and
另外一
worries
种
may
方法。
actually
假如
appear.
你还是很生
So you
气你的
can
老板
try
的话，
different
修
methods.
法
If
的时
you're
候有
very
出
angry
现
with your
他
boss
干扰
and
你
your
的话，
boss keeps
那
appearing
你
in
不要
your
继续
mind
把他
during
关想
your
在你旁边，
cultivation session, then
他反
you
正一直
can
要住在
try
你面前，你就关
visualizing
在他旁边，然
visualizing
后你
your
要跟自
boss
己讲，你
next to
看
you.
你骂我这么惨，我还这么照顾你，把
You
你关想在我旁边，你
you
看
can tell
活
yourself,
菩萨放光
see,
照你，你看我多
um,
慈悲， 你
look
看
at
把
how
你业障
compassionate I
消
am.
除。
Although you're
你
so
发现你
mean
的
to
观
me,
点
but
会
I
不会
still
不管对你没
visualize
有办法把，然后还
you
继续
next
把
to
它
me and visualize the
驱
Buddha's
散嘛？
Bodhisattvas
你可以把它
blessing
放在旁边的，
your boss.
对不对？既然没有办法把它驱
And
出去的话，那你
if you're not
就
able
用它
to
来修法
remove
可以的。
the
这
image
种
of
的
your
是在
boss
修
from
行
your
过程
mind,
当中自己对
you
治自己的烦恼的一种方
you
法。
can try and remedying it by visualizing your boss next to you and also receiving the Buddha's blessing. If you have received the Yidam Yoga Siddhana's blessing, then you have to constantly view your in your outer appearance as your Yidam. And also in your inner aspect, I'll be always mindful of Buddha nature. So is this Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra?
你不要用两个手指击起来嘞，二应该是这样嘛，一里面其实是有一跟二啊，里面是有一跟
Master
二。
replies that there's actually both Kriya Tantra as well as Charya Tantra. So the Kriya Tantra part is visualizing yourself as your Yidam because this is very specific in the how, but the inner aspect of observing your own Buddha nature belongs to the Charya Tantra because this is a key point, but how do you actually observe or view your own Buddha nature? You do not just dwell or visualize yourself as your Yidam only at the altar, or only 3 times a day you visualize yourself as your Yidam, or when you're doing mandala offerings. So whether you're making offerings or trying to do vital deliverance or etc., you're always trying to visualize yourself as your Yidam. If you have not started your Yidam yoga practice, then you can try to apply this in your other stages. For instance, the 4 preliminaries. You can try visualizing yourself as Vajrasattva. If you're at the stage you're practicing Guru Yoga, then you visualize yourself as your Guru. So don't be stuck if you're in the thinking that if I'm not at the stage of practicing Yidam Yoga, then what do I do? So for example, if your Yidam is Pamasambhava, then you visualize yourself wearing Pamasambhava's crown.
金刚观就是五骷髅观，华寂观我都没有看过了，而且在网络上没有找到有这样的观，我猜啦，因为这个华在中文字里面，其实把它当成花。
So Pamasambhava's crown could be either the 5 Buddha crown, or the Vajra crown, or the Hua Qi crown. But I'm not entirely sure what the Hua Qi Guan refers to, but I suspect that it could be a crown that has flowers on it. And all these crowns are to adorn oneself, and you're not just visualizing these crowns when you remember. And this would belong to Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra. And Master repeats the answer, it belongs to Kriya Tantra because it tells you how to do, but you may not necessarily understand the reasons why you're doing it.
你会奇怪说，我这样观想自己跟佛菩萨一样有带这些观，对于我会怎么样？你会莫名其妙嘛，对不对？所以你还是在施布啊，你不知道发生，你不知道为什么要这样做啊。
If you don't understand the reasons why you're doing a particular step, then that is Kriya Tantra level. So even when you're cooking, and frying vegetables, or stir-frying vegetables, you need to visualize yourself as your Yidam. So whether in terms of wearing clothing, abiding, eating, or walking, you visualize yourself as your Yidam. So how does Yidam arise? One is Shunyata, Buddha nature, because you have validated or realized when you have reached realization or enlightenment, this is Shunyata or emptiness, and another is compassion. All Bodhisattvas, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are the integration of Shunyata, empty nature, and compassion. So
你不需要每一次都把自己当成空，你把自己当
I
成空，
feel
过
that
马路
you
那么危
don't
险，
I feel that you don't always
最
have
后是
to
空的。所以
visualize yourself as Shunyata. For
我觉得
example,
啦啊，
if
我觉
you're
得
crossing the
当你
road
烦恼
and
升起
visualizing
的时
yourself as
候，你要
Shunyata,
告
then
诉
this
自
would
己，
be
既然
problematic.
是空的，为什么
Um,
你还有烦恼？
but
当
it's
你出现一
to
些
apply
不
this
平
as an
稳的
antidote
情
when
绪的时候，
certain
你要
situations
完全的
occur
提醒自
and
己，
you need
你
to
竟然是自
remind
性空
yourself
的话，
that
你
if
为
you
什
are
么还有
without
这个
self
分别
nature,
心？
then why
分
do you
别
still
心就
have
是
this
哦，
heart
我今天要
of
吃红豆汤，
differentiation?
明天就
A
不
heart
叫做
of
分
a
别
mind
心，
of
而
differentiation
是
is not
你产
about,
生了
oh,
一
today
种
I'm going to
诶
eat red bean soup today.
情
It's
绪的波
referring
动的一种
to
分别心。
um,
就算今
states
天
of
红豆
mind
汤没
that
有，你情绪
cause
没有波
you
动啊，算
to
了，我换别个汤啊，
have
那个不叫分别
fluctuations
心，
into
好
your
不好？
mental
那
state
个是你会差别，
or
你会分别东西，不代表有分别心。很多人以为分别心就是因为你会
discernment
分
is
别，
not
分别是正常
discernment is
的，是
not
说你
a
不要产
mind
生这
of
种情绪波
discrimination or
动。你不会
differentiation.
分别的话，你吃饭
Discernment
的时候你
is
会把汤匙吞进去，好不好？你讲汤匙和我是合一的，你一次下你把它吞进去了，这种不是分
discernment
别，是你分
is
别了
able to
后，
make
你知
sense of
道
the
你
world
知道怎么样
around
去
you,
用
but
它，
a
而
mind
不是
of
说你今天在吃这个汤，
and
你
you
在
know
吃
how
饭的
to
时候，这个汤匙
use
讲，诶，你很肮
the
脏
items. Like for
诶，我要换
instance,
别的。对，这个
soup
这个是
spoon.
会
If
分别
you
啊。
notice that
啊，
the
你要用肮脏的，我不要，我要用清净的，我要用干净的，那就是有情绪波动的那种啊。可是你看到
um,
肮脏，你马上拿去洗 ，OK， 那个不叫情绪波动，你只是知道正常的操作而
so
已。
master is using an example of, for
好，
instance,
这里的心要口诀
if
是
you're
请告诉
drinking
你，
soup and you
你
see
要
that the
跟
soup spoon
本
is
尊
dirty
合
and you
一的
are
话，
very
先要
angry, then
要
that's
提醒自己
that's a
是自
reactive
性
mind
空，
of
然后
discrimination
要提
because
醒自己，
your
就算你是
emotions are
空的，可
affected.
是你还
But
是有
then
慈
if you
悲
just
在你的
see
心中
that
的。
the soup spoon is dirty and you go and wash it and then use a clean spoon, then that is a mind
好，
of discernment
在
because you observe that
更
it's
新的
dirty
第
and
300
it needs
本
to
文
be
集回归心法里
dealt
面，
with,
师父
but
有
your
解修
emotions are
本
not
尊法
affected.
的密钥。我们知道本尊法的仪轨，而它的密钥是什
In
么？
this next
就是讲
slide,
知行一处
it's
皆
from the
所
book
印，知行一处观想，
Return to
知
the
行
River
一
of
处
Stars,
念
Book
咒，
300,
知
Chapter
行一处
21.
入三摩地。当你看到这一句
We
心
know
要口
that
诀的
the
时候
Idam
啊，
Yoga
你马
Sirana,
上知道自己的
we know the
心是
Idam
谁
Yoga
要。
Sirana and what is
请
its
问这个是
secret.
师父 还是
If
贫困？
if you're wholeheartedly forming mudras,
是
then
要
it's
师
purity
傅
of the
师
body.
傅
Wholeheartedly visualizing,
一还是
that's purity
二？
of the mind.
二，
Wholeheartedly
不
reciting mantra,
对，
that's
不是
purity
不
of
对了，
speech.
对一
Wholeheartedly
半，
entering
因
into
为你是手
samadhi,
印，
that's
你知道怎么做啊？
merging
这
with
个
your
是
Idam.
师
And
父，
then
你知道怎么观想啊？这个是
is
师
this Kriya
父。
Tantra
念
or
咒你知道怎么
is this
念
Kriya
啊？这
Tantra
是
or
师父，
Charya
他有方
Tantra?
法，可是你不会的是什么？知行一处，这个是重
This is
点，
Kriya
行
Tantra
步的重
because you know how to
点，只
form
是听
mudras, you
口
know how
诀
to
而已。
visualize, you know
这个
how
是
to
行
chant
步的口诀，戒手印这
mantras,
些你都
but you
会，
don't
可
know
是师
how
父把重点
to
告诉你，
um, be
你的
one mind,
重
be
点是你接
single-minded
手印的
without
时候
being distracted.
要自行一处，观想的时候要
How do
自行一
you
处。我们看
be
下后面
focused
文章
and
为什么会提
undistracted
到
when
自
you
行一处
form
要怎么说
mudras or
出来。
visualize or recite mantras?
还有不能少善根，请问是
Um,
什么不？
the first top
不能
line that
少
is
善
highlighted in
根
yellow,
行
um,
不
the secret of
你上
um,
当了，
and
这
there
个
is
是五
also
大不，
不能少善根, which means you cannot
这
be
是大圆满
lacking
九次
in
第一
roots
个
of
菩萨
virtue.
不。
What
好，
level
第
is
五
this?
大就是要在做这个利他的
Master
事啊，这个就
replies
是
that this is
所
actually
以你要明白为什么你跟本
the
尊没有关
Bodhisattva
系，就
level
是因
at
为你是
the
躲在家里，没有
um,
出来帮忙
Alto
做法
Tantra
务，
stage.
除非你真的可以入本尊的三摩地，不然的话你是没有办法。哎，那句话怎么样讲啊？哎，自度度他那句话是吗？应该不是
You
自
need
度度他，
to,
就是当你入本尊三摩地的时候，虽然你
when you
人在
enter the
宫殿，
samadhi
虽
of
然你人
your
在密坛，可是你的
Yidam,
这个存在啊，对这个宇宙还有这个人间是有帮助的。不要问我，我
even
也不知道，这个是祖师爷讲的，
accomplished
那祖师也
adepts,
是这样讲啊。
when they
只要你可
are
以进入
meditating their
本尊的
caves,
三摩地的
if they're
话，
able to
你
enter
本
the
身
samadhi
发出
of
来的那个
their
磁场，发出来的
Yidam,
那些功
they
德，
are able able to benefit sentient beings around them. So, however, if you're not able to enter the Yidam's meditation or samadhi, then hiding in your home or mandala or your shrine and not helping at cultivation venues. Sorry, he meant that if you're not able to reach the level of accomplished adepts where even meditating is beneficial for sentient beings outside of the cave, then you should try to help out, volunteer at cultivation venues so that you can accumulate virtuous roots.
还有一心不乱，就是执行一处。这里师尊您透露了，因为一心不乱，就表示你自心一处。师尊讲，我个人觉得，除了这些密钥之外，还有更重要的大密钥，就是要有光
Apart
明
from
的
these
智慧。
secrets, one also needs to have luminous wisdom. What tantra or what stage of tantra does this
师父，
fall
你也
under?
上当了，这是阿努瑜
Kriya
伽
or
跟
charya?
阿迪瑜伽，
Master
还记得吗？
replies that
你
you have
交付之
fallen
后，你接
for
下
the
来是
trick
选择
question
大
again.
瑜
This is
伽吗？
actually
然后就是
Anu
阿
or
努瑜伽
Adi
修经
yoga
外明点嘛，然后就阿底
because
瑜伽嘛。
there is
这
the
个光明
practice
的智
of
慧啊，世尊是用
qi
抽
channels
象
and
的
light
来
drops.
描述这个
This
净
is
光。
described very
我们一
abstractly
懂的
by
话，他就知
Grandmaster,
道这里
but
讲的就是净光
because
来的，
he's mentioned
清净的光。 为什么它会
light,
出现净
光
光
明,
呢？是因为它的
so this
它
is a
的经
reference
轮的
to
那一
pure
个
light,
花
which
叶莲花
at
绽放了，出
the
现那
eight
个
petal
净光，
lotus at
净
your
光中间
heart
出现
chakra
光。
has
好，
blossomed
所
to
以你看到这
reveal
个星
the
耀口诀，
Yidam.
你就会明白，这个
When
不
you
是
see
师
this
父，不是
key,
叫你
this
观
is
想净光
not
出现光明，不
Charya
是，这
Tantra,
是告诉
not
你，
Kriya
你要
Tantra
把
where
自
you
己内
visualize
心的那
light
个
at your
光明
heart,
啊
but it is
修出来，
to
这个是
actually
更深的次第了。
help
所以你
actually
看懂这些
manifest
星
or
耀口
cultivate
诀，你
that
就知
light,
道怎么样去拿捏，哪
the
一些你需要，
actual
哪一些你不需要，或者你已
revelation of
经
that
做
light.
到了，你只是把它当成一种知识而已哦。然后师尊讲，我们明白人生是苦，要离苦得乐。请问是什么
We
苦？
understand that human life is suffering and we need to depart from
离苦
suffering
得
to
乐，
attain happiness. What level of
行
the 9
不？
stages is this?
不
Mayor
对，这个
replies,
是
Charya
声
Tantra.
闻部。你忘记
Master
声闻部他
replies,
们第一个
no,
就
this
叫
is
明白人生
actually
是苦吗？
Sheng
他
Wenbu,
们
which
明
is
白苦
Sharbaka Yana,
吗？
because this is the
好
very first
的，
stage.
我
You
们
have
需要
to
断除苦
first
的因，自负还是行
see
部？
suffering.
请问美儿助
Sorry,
教，
the second point is
这个第二个我们要
we
离
need
开苦，
to
我们要
sees the causes of suffering.
生
What
生
是
部
哪一
what
部？
level of
生
the
声
闻
闻
9 stages is
部
this?
非常好，不会上当。
Shabakayana, yes,
我们
very
需要
good.
本
You
尊
have
法的
not
三摩地，唯有三
fallen
摩地
for
才
the
能
trick
断
question
除
again.
苦。请问这是
And
什
okay,
么？
the third line, we need
一
to
样还是声闻？
the samadhi of Yidam
本
Yoga.
尊法的三摩地嘞，那个外面刚才有
Only
提到这个本
samadhi
尊法的，
can help us to overcome suffering. What
请
what
问
tantra what
大
level
家有
of
没有人回答？
yanas is this?
因为我这里看不到大
Will
家的
anyone
留言。
else try to answer this question?
其实这个就是瑜伽部，
Master replies, this
有
is
人答
因为
对
有
了
本尊
yoga
地才有
tantra
办法进入这个三摩地啊，
because you need
懂
to
吗？所以当你看到这
enter
个星
yoga
耀口
union
诀
with
的时
your
候，
yidam
你
in
要明
order
白这个
to
不是靠
enter samadhi.
修了，而是要靠正，你自己要修正出来的。因为他没有方法让你知道，因为他只把这个星耀口诀告诉你说，你要真正断除你的苦的话，你一定要进入本尊法的三摩地。所以你要达到这个的话，一定是瑜伽部。
To
所以
accomplish
你就
this,
直接
you
跳过去了。你看
definitely
到这
need
星耀
to
口
reach
诀
the
的时候，
stage of yoga
所以你现
tantra.
在有苦是正常的，
So if you have
你
suffering
明
now,
白
that's
正
normal,
常的。
natural.
你不要说我修了这么久，为什么
Don't
还有苦？
think
因为你还没有
that
进
I
入
have
本尊
cultivated
法
for
的
so
三摩
long,
地，
I still have
就是
suffering.
你把
It's
这个
because you
星耀
haven't
口诀
entered
告
the
诉我，
samadhi of Yidam
除
yoga.
非你进入
And
本尊法的
Grandmaster
三摩
says
地，
that
才有
only
办
if
法
you
断
are
除那个苦。
able to enter the
本
samadhi of
尊
your
法就是
Yidam,
断除
then you'll
苦的
be
方
able
法，
to
然后三摩
cease
地的
or
密
overcome suffering. Line 4, point 4, Yidam Yoga is the method of overcoming afflictions or suffering. Okay, it seems like we're running short on time, so I will just review the questions directly and not ask Dharma Assistant Mayor. So you can look at the lines and then see whether your maybe my answers are not 100% correct, but maybe if you're able to convince me, maybe your perspectives are correct as well. The fifth point, Samadhi's secret is no without mind, which is the cessation of thought or no thought. And only when there is cessation of thought will there be purity. Number 6, when the small self is able to enter Amitabha's heart, and there is mind and mind, there's a heart and heart connection. What stage is this? Some people think that the heart only refers to the heart chakra, but the heart mind can be all over your body or anywhere in your body. Number 7, from this point on, dwell in the luminous wisdom. This is Anu or Adi Yoga stage. If you still have the slightest doubt that whether you have cultivated correctly, then you still have not attained the luminous wisdom, which means that you have not fully attained this bright wisdom. Point 9, you can benefit others. This is Bodhisattva stage. Amitabha Buddha has 48 vows. A cultivator also needs to have 48 vows. This is Kriya Tantra, because if you have attained yogic union with your Yidam, would you still need to generate 48 vows? It doesn't mean that you don't think these are important, but you no longer need them. Dharma sibling asked last week, if you visualize Guan Yin's clothing moving, is that also a key? Yes. In this book, 288, chapter 21, Grandmaster gave this key a name, Huang Dong, which is a kind of movement, or is this Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra? This is Kriya Tantra because Grandmaster is describing how to do it. That the Yidam is alive. When you visualize your Yidam as alive or moving, then this is Kriya Tantra. And he cited some examples. For instance, the celestial garments are swaying in the breeze, or this is Kriya Tantra because it's describing how. And other examples would be Avalokiteshvara's willow branch swaying, and when when the willow branch sprinkles, it will move like it's a real branch and it will flex. So it's not a stiff it's not a stiff dead branch, but it's a very fluid movement of you have to visualize that fluid movement of the willow branch swaying. And when you do sprinkling purification of your house, you need to have a sensation that your house is purified, and there's in the boundary protection. So a lot of people visualize white light, but they come blessing, but they don't visualize the black qi being expelled out. Why do we need to visualize the black qi or smoke being expelled? So, for instance, if you use a cloth and you don't wring it dry and you just hang it, do you think that the cloth will dry? Yes. But if you wring it dry and then you hang it, will it dry faster? So it's similar to the white light coming in. Will the black qi be expelled from the body? Yes. But if you visualize the black qi being expelled from the body, then it's like you're strengthening it, like the wringing of the cloth to help it dry faster. So a lot of people think that if the light comes in at the brow point, it stops at the brow point. But actually, when the light comes at the brow point, it spreads throughout your whole body. And if you do sprinkling purification, you sprinkle the floor becomes clean. You use your mind to visualize it. This is also a form of huangdong, which is swaying or moving. So this is it's not always visual, but it could be other forms of sensation. For instance, there is mudras, there is mantras and visualization. These are the three secrets which can allow the illusory to become real. So we have received empowerment and we are doing these illusory practices which have in the Mahavairochana Sutra where he blesses supernatural transformation, the illusory can become real and the power can manifest. Why can't it happen? Because sometimes we hinder ourselves by thinking that it's impossible. At first, that thing has manifested, but then you think that you don't have sufficient power and you think that it's impossible. So then it becomes impossible. So you need to have confidence, full confidence in Grandmaster, to have full confidence in Kriya Tantra. As long as your sadhana is complete and you don't change the steps randomly, then there will definitely be blessing power in the process. If you think that you will receive karmic substitution and you have to stand in, then that will happen. So a lot of times our discursive thoughts actually hinder ourselves from wish fulfillment. So if you have no doubt, you have full confidence and you do the steps correctly, then the wish can be fulfilled. So when you visualize yellow jambalas, mongoose, treasure spouting mongoose, then you visualize that mongoose as being real. You need to feel the smell of the bills, the dollar bills, or the huangdong doesn't just refer to the visual image of the money, or could also be other sensory perceptions like sounds or taste or touch. Your So the key of all the karma sadhanas of pacifying, enrichment, subjugating, magnetization, or magnetizing is 晃动, which is movement.
在解脱到口诀的时候
In book 275, chapter 13, our master also shared a key of Yidam Yoga. Someone asked, how do we invoke the Yidam to descend? Answer, form the invocation mudra and recite the invocation mantra. Is this Kriya or Charya Tantra? Very obviously, this is Kriya Tantra because the steps are outlined, but it doesn't tell us why this can happen. So this is Kriya Tantra. The question 2, what is the invocation mudra? Guru replies, the Vajra hook mudra. This is right hand forms a hook and hooked over, and the fist is wrapped around your left index finger. The invocation mudra described here belongs to that of the red Manohara Vasudhara. Which invocation mantra to recite? The one that we recite usually is Om Om Soha, which will be able to invoke the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. If you're able to invoke the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, then you'll be able to invoke all the beings, deities below the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. Question, if you're not able to invoke, then what will happen? Or what do we do? Answer, use the power of your mind to invoke. Use the power of mudra to invoke, which means that after you form the invocation, the Vajra hook, you still need to have to turn it 3 times. Use the power of your mind more intensely. And then number 3 is use the power of mantra to invoke. You can even visualize Amitabha's the white urna light. The white light at the urna of Amitabha Buddha's brow point, spiraling clockwise. So this is a Kriya Tantra level stage key. If you always have a sensation when you do invocation, then do you need to apply this key? Not necessarily. If you are able to invoke the deity successfully and you sense them coming, and then you don't need to apply this. But if you usually invoke them, and then one time they don't appear, you can try using this additional key. If you invoke them and usually you're not able to sense them, and you apply this key and you're still not able to invoke them, then so this key is not necessarily applicable to everyone. It's not a matter of me saying, like for instance, the question earlier when the person was asking, can I practice the combined practice of Vajrasattva and Guru Yoga? It's not about me saying whether you can or cannot practice it, but it's a matter of you, whether you are at the stage suitable to practice it. And the next question, if your discursive thoughts keep occurring, how does one enter samadhi? The answer, if discursive thoughts keep occurring, this is the realm of ordinary mundane beings. Of course, you're not able to enter samadhi, but the key is Sorry, he skipped the next slide. So,
回答是，然后再帮助我们如何做到一心不乱。师尊讲
how do we accomplish
为意精明
a focused mind that
很
is
多人看了可
undistracted?
能
And the answer is
有点懂，
to
有点不懂。
tie up the 6
他说
thieves
把6个贼绑起来，作为一个专注。
and
为什
transform
么
it
我觉得中文
into
字用这个词用的太棒了？为
singing.
什么它叫
I feel
贼？
that these Chinese
因为它
characters
偷你的
are
东西
great.
嘛。一
Why
碰
do
你
you
的东
use the
西就变
6
成偷
thieves
的
to
时候，表示什么？表示你没有
describe
注
it?
意到，
It's
对
how are
不
your
对？
things
没有
stolen?
注
It's
意到就被
because you're
偷啊。
not
假如
mindful
你注意
or you're
到的
not
话，他可以
aware,
偷到你的
and
东西吗？
then
偷不到啊。
people
所
will
以
be
怎么
able to
可
steal
以
your
让自
items.
己的眼耳
So,
鼻
but
舌
if
身
you are
意
mindful of
不
it, the
让
thieves will
它
not have a chance to
偷
steal.
掉你的专注力
So
呢？你首
the
先
6 thieves
要
are stealing
把
your
自己的
concentration.
关照在
So
自己
if
的
you're always mindful,
身
then
口意。当你可
you're
以注意到自己的
if you
身
are able to
跟
observe your
口
own
跟意
body,
念的时
speech,
候，
and mind,
请问有人可以偷
then
你的东西吗？没有
let me
人可以
ask
偷啊。
you, will
这个
anyone
就
be
是
able to
把你
steal
的
your
6
items?
贼绑起来。
This is
就算
the
你鼻子痒，
tying up
你也
of
不
the
管
6
它，
thieves.
因为你不
Even
给他
if your
偷啊。
nose is
有的人就
itchy,
是在餐厅的时候鼻
you
子痒
will
就很
not
自然就去擦一下鼻
you will
子，
not
你被
bother
偷了，
about it.
因为你
If
无
you
形
rub
中
your
被他
nose,
影响
then
啊。
you
不
have
然
been
给你餐厅你
affected,
要的声
and
音，你坐在
one
餐
of
厅
the
你要转
thieves
头看啊。
has
你被耳朵
has
偷
taken
了，
advantage of the
你
situation.
注意到他，
So
但是
it's
你
like if
不
you hear
管
a
他，
sound,
你知道这个
then and
就
you
是
turn your
外面的
head
现
and
象，
while you're meditating,
不去
then
算是自然
the
现象，
thief
你不
has
去管它。
stolen your
这个就是你把自己的心
through the sense of
专注
hearing.
在你的
So
眼
this
耳
is when
鼻
you
舌身意，
focus your
然后要怎么修呢？
sight,
看这
focus
个
your
就是
eyes,
标注
ears,
师
nose,
尊有讲
tongue.
过，把你所有的妄念变成意念，就是观；把一个念变成没有念，就是止。
So
念
when
头止
you
不住，就回到
transform
意，
all
就
these
变成观。这
senses,
就是
sensory
说，你在
perceptions
禅
into
定的时
one,
候，
this is
你用你的所缘
止,
境，刚才
which is
这里
cessation.
提到一个叫所缘境吗？
Sorry,
找
which
出
is
一个
visualization,
适
which
合
is
你的
one.
所缘
And
境。
then when you
你想
transform
观
one
想自己
into
变化本
zero,
尊的
this
话，
is
变化本真就是你的所缘境。假如你把前面点了2
止,
支
which
香，
is
专注在这
cessation
2
or
支香的
non-thought.
2个红点，这2支香的红点就是你的所
Grandmaster
缘境。
also
假如你在餐厅的时
has
候
taught the
开
method
音
of
乐来
using
听，那你的音乐就是你所缘
looking
境，
at
就
incense,
是你在
and that
观
incense
这一个
becomes um,
我拿这个音乐
the
做比喻，当
suoyuanxing,
你关注
which
这个音
is,
乐的时候，你知道这个
or for
音乐
instance, if you
的
play
出现，
music to help
你
you
也知
enter
道它
meditation,
跟着这个
this is
音乐的
also
消失。
another example of
当
a
你发现你出
suoyuanxing.
现外来的干扰的时候，你不去理会它，
When you
这
observe
个
that
就
there
是
are
止了，这不是
external
止，这个就是
obstacles
观了。
occurring, like
一般
in your
在观的
environment
时
that's
候是会
obstructing,
一心
that
二
might
用的。
distract you in your
什
meditation.
么意思呢？你会注意到自己在做一个观修，你也会注意到外面的一种，它有点
You
像这个 CCTV 啊，就像这个摄影机啊，它可以看到所有
So
的
a little
东
bit
西，
like
可
the
是它不会
surveillance
停留在
camera
那个点，
that can
听得
observe
懂吗？
the
就是假如一个
situation,
摄
but
影
it
师
will not
360
be
度它不断
affected
旋转的话，它
by
会
it.
注意到所有东
So
西，可
it's
是它不会
able to
停在一个
observe
点，
everything, but it will
这
not
个就是
stop at
观。
one particular
所以
point.
不要
So
以
this
为
is a
你在
little bit
观的
like
时候呢，
one, which
妄
is
念一定要
the
消失，不是。
visualization.
当
So
你
it
在
doesn't
观
mean
的
that
时
all
候，
your
你发现
discursive
你不
thoughts
受到这些
disappear,
其他
but
的念
even
头
though
影
they
响的
are
时候，
there, you are
你就
not
会慢慢
affected
进入
by all
止这个
these
过程。
discursive thoughts, which will allow
所
you
以
to
这个就是
enter
止
Qi,
观
which
双
is
运，所以这个
cessation.
是四步，
And
因为还有
this is the
方法
dual
教你怎
employment
么
of
做。
cessation and visualization.
好，进入本尊法菩
And
提
this
12，也是来自解脱道的口诀。现在你
next
看这样的
chapter,
话，你
which
马
is
上知
also
道
from book
这个是不是你
275.
四步的行步了，对不对？
So you
你要
can
模
ask
仿他的形
yourself
象，
whether it's Kriya or
你要
Charya,
穿他的衣服，
Yidam,
你要跟
whatever the
他常住
Yidam
同一个法器。所以你
appears
跟
as,
我
the
很多人有
cultivator
很
also
高兴，
appears
不知道每
as
次法会的
the
时候手
Yidam's,
上会拿
the
一个外
cultivator
面
wears the
组
same
哦。
colored clothes
我
as
拿
the
那一面组
Yidam.
不是要哪一面咒啊，
The
因为
Yidam, the
我要
cultivator
自
holds
己变
Dharma
化为本
implements
尊，
the same
本
as
尊
the
上有这
Yidam.
个念珠，所以我会跟他拿出同一个念珠。所以之所以在修 准提佛母的话，恭喜你们，你们准备18个法器。
If you're
准备换你的法器。
cultivating
开
Juni
玩
Buddha
笑了
Mother,
哦，不一定要
if
准
Juni
备，
Buddha
观
Mother
想
is your
着就好
idam,
了哦。
yoga, then congratulations, you have to prepare 18 kinds of Dharma implements. Well, I'm just joking because you can also visualize the 18 Dharma implements. So this is the Kriya Tantra stage because the steps are outlined. The Yidam's mantra, seed syllable, visualize that at your heart chakra and recite the Yidam's mantra, which is 100,000 times, or always be mindful of, or remember, think of your Yidam. This is Kriya Chara Tantra. The section in blue, the Yidam's Bodhi actions are the cultivator's Bodhi actions. The Yidam's vow is the cultivator's vow, and the Yidam's body, speech, and mind are the cultivator's body, speech, and mind. That is actually Yoga Tantra. So everything about the cultivator has to correspond to that of the Yidam. So when it's corresponding to the outer appearance, it's stuff that we can see. So clothing, housing, shelter, etc. What is inner yogic union? It's if your Yidam is compassionate, you are compassionate. Do you remember last week's lesson? We also learned about perseverance or a heart of reverence. All these are so the inner yogic union refers to the qualities that are invisible or they're not, they don't have a material form. And 密相同 is the same as your your Yidam in terms of qi channels and light drops, and 秘密相同 is when the light drop enters the ocean of light. A yogic practitioner has to practice Ru or Ru, and the key formulas are as follows. Visualize the Yidam in the space opposite and above the practitioner. Visualize the Yidam moving to the practitioner's head and recite 108 times of the mantra. Visualize the Yidam empowering the practitioner and the practitioner becomes pure. Then recite the Yidam Yoga 108 times. Then visualize the Yidam transforming into a light, a pearl-sized light moving to your heart chakra, dwelling upon your heart chakra lotus. Recite the Yidam Yoga, Yidam mantra 108 times. Visualize the Yidam gradually increasing to become the same size as the practitioner, and the two are one and the same. And recite the mantra 108 times. And then finally, the practitioner visualizes oneself becoming as vast as the empty space, and the whole cosmic space is all full of the practitioner, and recite 108 times. The visualization of the small light entering the great ocean of light is also Ru. You can, after you finish seeing this, you use it. You can ask yourself or decide for yourself. This belongs to Kriya Tantra keys because it tells you how to do it. But if you've already attained yogic union with your Yidam, then you don't necessarily need to depend on these steps. So if you haven't attained yogic union, then you can refer to these keys as a reference and cultivate based on these keys. if you already have sensations from your
因为你假如真的要做这
practice,
部分的话，你会发现你要花一点时间哦，因为每个都要念108遍。
so then you can
你
decide for
做
yourself
到了
because
相应就容
you
易
you
了
would realize that in order to do all these steps, it would
好，
require quite a
哇，
bit
非
of
常快
time.
的，我讲快一点了啊，这里应该很快的啊。行者，这个是在解脱
I
道
will
口
need
诀
to
里面，
speed up a
也
bit
是
more.
尊讲的本尊法口诀第10
In
的
book
哦。行
275,
者跟本尊相应，要注意的
when a
口诀是，
practitioner
你
attains,
要求
in order
亲
for a
近
practitioner to
跟真
attain
实
yogic
传
union
承
with
上
the
师
Yidam,
或
the
者灌顶。
keys to pay attention
你
to
看到
are
这的话，你就
one,
知道这个是
you
属
need
于
to
四
receive
部的星
empowerment
耀口诀，
from
因为你一定要皈依，
a
一定要灌
true
顶，这个基本的
guru
要
with
求一定要有
lineage.
的。
This is Kriya
自身
Tantra.
与法相合，
Number
还记得
2,
你选本
your
尊
own
法的时候，不是
body
有3个缘分吗？ 一个要跟天
corresponds
业缘，
with
就是你
Dharma.
过去世有修他的法，或者感谢
Remember,
这
we
因缘。
mentioned
第二个
that
叫法缘，
in
就是你的
selecting
生
an
性
Yidam,
要
you
跟
need
他
to
契合。
sometimes it's dependent on
第
karmic
3个是
connections
性缘，就是你
or
选了他
your
后，
own
你不
nature
轻易的
corresponds
犯
or
本
is
尊，
inclined towards that
因为你
particular
知道这
Yidam.
个是你要学的
And
本
you
尊
would
哦，你的
also,
自身与
your
法
mind
要
would
相
also not
合。
sway
然后入
once you
世法
have
跟出世
chosen
法
your
要
Yidam.
双运，表示什么？我们知道在大圆满九次第里面
Number
呢，
3,
入世法是五沙部，
the
出
dual
世法是声闻
employment
部
of
跟缘觉，所以里面
worldly
提
as
到
well
的
as
是
transcendental Dharma.
外密三，大圆满九次
This
第的外密
is
三，你一
Alto
定要
Tantra.
做到。然后三业转化为三密，
Number 4,
三
the
业是
three
什么？
secrets,
身
the
业、
three
口业
karmas
跟意业。
transforming
我
to
们
the
怎么样
three
可以把它
secrets.
转为三密呢？
What
当
are the
我们借
three
手印， 我
karmas?
们
When
持
you're,
咒，我们
these
观
refer
想
to your
的时
body,
候，
speech, and
这就
mind.
是三密清净了。
Um,
所以这个部分是
the
四
three
部，
priority of the three secrets would
戒
refer
除
to
二
using
口，
mantra,
这
mudra, and
个是属于哪一
visualization.
个？是属于五沙部，因为你要持
Number
戒律
5,
嘛，也属于声
using
闻部，你要
precepts
守
to
戒律嘛。离开
remedy
恩怨
abusive
情仇，
speech.
这
Number
是普沙
6,
部。利他为
departing
重，
from
普沙
love
部。
and hatred,
六道戒
dwelling,
事
abiding in
类唯
equality.
是
Number
清愿，
7,
这里面
um,
也可以把它当成
regarding
圆觉，
benefiting
就
others
这
as
观
important.
察这
Number
个因
6,
缘的变化，
number 8
你
is
悟到六道戒事是类
visualizing
似的清
all
眷，
sentient beings of the
或
six
者这
realms
部分也
as
可以是大瑜
relatives
伽。
from
因为
accumulated
当你修到本
lifetimes.
尊法相应的时候，你下一步就是
So
修
this
大瑜伽，你要
is
把所有的六
Maha
道众生
Yoga
都变成你
because
的眷
you
属了。
have to
你所有
visualize
你的这
all
个外
your
面的这个器世界都是你的宫殿，然后清净
the
见
external
解，
environment
这个
as
是
your
修
palace,
修智
and
慧方面的，
all of
就
the
是
people
普
around
沙
you
部
as your
的。
retinue.
应时修瑜伽四部，常祈祷上
Number
师本
10,
尊护法
regularly
四部，
practice yoga.
常勿忘上师口诀
Number
四部，
12, don't forget
看
your
懂了吗？
guru's
为什
keys.
么
This
我要把大
is
圆满九次第一引荐给你们？因为你看懂了大圆满九次第一，再看这个星耀口诀，你知道你
once
需
you
要
have
学的是哪一
understood the
些，
9
哪一
stages
些跟你
of
还
the
是有
Great
些差
Perfection,
距，
you would
但
be
是
able
先把
to
它当
tell
成你
what
的
stage these keys
知识，
fall
对，当
in.
时让你知道你后面还有更长的路
And
要
then
走。
you will know
第二
that
个
you still have
要
a
道
long
心
way
坚
ahead of
固，
you or
这个
where
是
you
第一，这个
are
要自己
at
有
in
心证
your
哦。你道心坚固
practice.
不坚固，你自己是有心证。
You will
故
be
以
able
心
to
要重，
know
声
whether
闻部，
your
爱
own
自
mind
己跟
is
爱别人，
steadfast
菩
in your
萨部。
cultivation.
你会很奇怪，菩萨
Number
部不是
14, you
自己
have
不存
a
在，别
strong
人
mind
存
of
在吗？不要
renunciation.
忘记，你
Number
自己也是众
15,
生啊。
you
你
love
不可以
yourself,
只
but you love
只爱
others
外
even
面的
more.
众生，你自己不爱自己啊！你自己也是众生之一啊。强
Remember
度
that you
烦恼，
yourself
这个
are
是声
also a
闻部。
sentient being,
上
so
师成
you
事
also
注
love
意身
yourself,
心，
not just love
这里
others.
面有事部跟行部。
17,
你在做这四
your
十法无色
mind
空
of
就是成
devotion,
事，注
your
意身
devotion or
心就
service
是
to your
行部。
guru comes from
不
a
利
true
己不利他，
heart
事业
or
莫做，
is
五杂部。
sincere.
无聊的闲事莫做，真文部。恶业一点不能做，真文
Not
部也有
engaging
菩
in
萨部。
frivolous
善
activities.
业
This is
有这个
Shabaka
从
Tantra.
21到
Point 21 to
24，全部都是
24
属于这个
all
小
belongs
乘跟
to
大乘的修行哦，对不对？因为
the
它小
small
乘、大乘也在
vehicle
修这
and
些啊，
great
就是
vehicle
我们刚才讲的大圆满
practices.
九次第的外密三。
21 is delighting in virtuous actions and repenting for all negative karma, not harming oneself or others, and then not repeating transgressions after repenting for them. Once you have attained yogic union and seen your own Yidam and you are able to merge, if you are able to see your Yidam, right, does that Yidam teach you? Then you need to, if they don't, then you need to pay attention or take note or be wary, because sometimes it could be a negative interference masquerading as the Yidam.
说看到也不对，看不到也不对，到底什么对？你要请你的本尊来指导你，为什么？假如你跟他相应的话，
If you have attained yogic union, your Yidam will be able to tell you or teach you because they are enlightened beings, and your longevity would increase, your merit and virtue would increase, your wishes would be fulfilled. It's not the kind where if you want to eat fried rice and fried rice appears, but it's more like when you hope to do certain, accomplish certain things, and those things can be easily accomplished.
你的心情、身心都是很愉悦的啊。然后生
Your
活如
mind,
法，
you're very you're in a joyful
这
state,
来得到
or
这些经济上的生活、弘法事业成就。然后你在
you will
本
become
尊
accomplished in your
梦中
Dharma
相会，
propagation
禅定、
activities.
虚空、
You
净土、
may encounter
世
your
界
Yidam
中，
in your dreams or
还
samadhi,
有你不
or
会
even in
胡
the world,
错描。你
and
在佛法的理解上，可能
your
会
understanding
没有
of the
消化好，
Dharma
可是你不会错描。就算
that
对
would
方告
be
诉
that
你
would
是
not be
错
in
的，你发现是
mistakes.
错的，你马上会警觉，而不会在那强
Even
词夺理。没有，那是我本尊告诉我的，你不会啊，你会
if there
明
are
白，你
errors,
会
you
知道，
will
没有障碍，
understand,
你
you
会
will
劝人修
recognize it,
行，你会
and
得到，
there'll
你
not
会得
be
到很大的
hindrances,
加持、
obstacles.
满愿、
You would receive great
一切
empowerment,
诸
or
般的
you
受
would
教头。这个也
encourage
是很
others
多
to
人每
cultivate.
次都说，哎呀，我
Wishes
不
will
能
be
帮人家报名
fulfilled,
表格啊，我会怎么
and
办呢？我不
you
可
will
以
not
这
be
样，我会
afraid
风范。
of
假如你真的跟本尊相应的话，
chong fan, which is
他们看到
could
你是
be
闪的，
translated
那
as
些鬼看到你
interference.
会闪开，不会撞你的。他
If
会
you
撞你
truly
的，就是
have
你根本没有相应。一般
yogic
会
union with
冲
your
犯的
Yidam,
原因，
then
就是前
ghosts
面有一个灵体，
would
你不知
hide when
道
they
你
see
走过
you
去，
because there's
然
light
后
on you.
他的武
Because
器
this
站到你
spiritual
身上，
clash or
这叫
interference
做冲
occurs
犯。
when
可是假
there
如
is
你
a
不
ghost right
顺
in
着
front of
光
you
抢过
and
他的
you
话， 撞
do
过
not
去，
know
不
and
是你
you
冲犯，
walk
是
into
鬼
that
冲犯。
ghost.
他反而
So
是要
if
闪你，不是
there
你
is
要闪
light on your
他
body
哦。
from your
所
Yidam,
以一般来
then the
讲，你要
ghost
明白，你跟他相应后，你不但不会冲
would
犯，你
avoid
也不
you,
会得到
or
降头，
they would be the
然后
ones
你不
getting
会做
clashed.
轮回，这个是比较
So
难
you
影
wouldn't
响，
have
这
to
个要
worry
以
about
后
it.
才知道啊。你会得度，
And you would not fall
然
into
后是这样讲，
cyclic
当你跟本
transmigration
尊相
again.
应之后，天
Um,
空中会出现本
if
尊跟
you
本尊眷属欢
are
呼
able
相
to
应了，
enter
这
yogic
个是
union
自由
with
行政。
attain yogic union of
假如你
Yidam,
发现你虽
the
然跟本
Yidam
尊相
and
应了，
their
没有出
retinue
现
would
这个的话，
appear in
表
the
示
cosmic
还
space.
需要的深入坚固跟它相应哈。
So if this
然后
doesn't
你会接
occur,
受
then you
到
still
你
need
本
to
尊
deepen
很远，
your
然后你
practice of
接受到
yogic
行者，行者
Yidam
化为
yoga,
本尊，本尊常在
and
所有
you
物，这个
transform
不是
into the
用观
Yidam,
想
and
出来的
the
哦，不是哦。师尊曾
Yidam
经讲
is
过，他
always with you.
对教前要做这个明光法，要观想他的
Grandmaster
三
shared
根
that
本出
before
来，
he
跟
sleeps,
他
he would do
设立
this
的时候，有
sleeping
一
in the
次
light
啊，
practice
他还没有
and
观想的时候，他已
visualize
经
his
注意
three
到三根本已经在网
roots.
的前面了，
And
然
before he did
后
the
还没有观
visualization,
想，
he
呵，
realized
本
that
尊就
the
直接进
three
入身体。
roots had already appeared.
哦，这个不
And
是要
before
观想，
he
是
did
真的已
the
经以家不会
the
之后产生
visualization,
出来
they
的一
had
种
already
觉
entered
受
his
来的。
body. So this is not this doesn't come about
现在
because
几
of
点了？43。
visualization.
好，我先暂停在这部分里面，
Okay, now
然
it's
后
9:43,
下
so
个
I
星
will
期
pause
再
at
继
this
续从
point
这里开始。
and we will
我把
continue
这
from this
个谢谢
point.
大家的聆听。
And thank you everyone for your attention. I hope today's class is beneficial for everyone. Let me hand the baton back to the host.
首先，非常感谢西良来上西。今天
First of all, let's thank the teaching master for his precious teaching today. We have learned a lot today about Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, and so on. Which is very rich in content.
跟着上师的提问，哎，这个是什么部呢？是行部还是瑜伽部呢？
I'm sure a lot of you will be think or trying to reflect upon Kriya Tantra versus Charya Tantra and so on. We can listen to his lesson a few more times. I'm sure you will be able to clarify your understanding. Thank you, Master Lin Lai, for your patience and for explaining things in such a clear manner. If you have any other uncertainties, revise well, and maybe tomorrow you would be able to say, now I know which category it falls under. And let's enter the question and answer segment. The first question, a lot of times,
事部和行部的仪轨，也有修道的达到深禅定。那么问题是，为何一定要有善根，或修慈悲善行？如果不修慈悲的，
a lot of times there is the practice of various kinds of Kriya Tantra or Charya Tantra, Siddhanas, and then there is also the practice to profound meditation. Then why does one necessarily need virtuous roots or to cultivate compassion? If we don't practice compassion, then what will happen? Master first asks, can I ask Dharma assistant Mayor to reply? Master replies that all religions will start with cultivating of virtuous roots. If you don't rely upon virtuous roots, then what kind of roots do you rely on? Do you rely on devious roots? So this is a foundational requirement. This question shouldn't even need to exist. It's cultivating good roots are the foundation of religions.
那么呢，下面还有一个问题是：阿弥陀佛，上师，若有一位修行者
Another question: if a cultivator
做出
helped
伤害或者是恶行，这位修行者在密宗中犯了是什么的戒律，会有什么后果？
If a cultivator harms other people who have actually helped this cultivator in the past, what crime has this cultivator committed? What precept has this cultivator committed? And what kind of karmic consequences will occur?
以后这个人得到的因果报应的时候，你自己也会在里面啊，就这么简单而已。所以想知道怎么消除这个问题的话，欢迎大家来聆听下一步的课程。
Because this question is is phrased in a very abstract or general manner, it's very hard to address it specifically, but I welcome everyone to listen to the chapter on repentance Siddhanas. The next lesson is the fourth part of this chapter 1-10, Keys to Cultivating Yidam Yoga.
本尊法心要口诀释。那么今天的课程非常的圆满殊胜，再次感谢释良来上师的慈悲授课，
for his compassionate teachings today, and we thank
参与愿
all
佛法的光明得
Dharma
到广
siblings
传，同
present
时也感
online
谢英语翻译的
today.
莲安
And
法
let's
师，
again
还有
thank
英
the
文中心的
interpreters,
佩芬助教，
Dharma assistant Patron
辛
on
苦
the
了你们的
Indonesian
翻译，
channel.
让更多同门都能受益，谢谢你们。那么呢，下面有请新郎来暂时为大家
And now
一一
let's
送上祝福。
invite Master Shilian to say goodbye to everyone.
可能暂时看不
大
到人名。
家晚安，好好休息。
好的，感谢中佛宗网络大学，感谢大家的参与，愿佛
Thank you
光
everyone for your
普照，身
participation.
心自在，福慧圆满。我们下周同一时
See
间
you
再
all
见。
next week at
阿
the
弥
same
陀
time.
佛，谢谢大
Amitabha.
家，
拜拜。
拜拜。
拜拜，阿弥
谢谢
陀佛，
上师，阿弥陀
谢谢
佛，
大家，
感恩
感
感恩，
恩
感
上师，
谢感恩法
阿弥陀佛，
师，
大
继续
家，
要加
上次谢谢大家，师傅，拜
持法喜
拜。
同步大
谢谢上
家，
师，
感
拜拜，
恩谢尊长，
祝福收
拜
益，
拜，
下礼拜见呢。
感恩上师，谢
感恩
谢
上师的
上
授课，
谢谢上师，
谢谢上师。
谢谢上师，阿弥陀佛，
拜
上师，
谢谢上师，感恩上师
谢谢
辛苦教，
谢谢上师。
感恩上师，
阿弥陀佛，拜拜，拜拜，阿弥陀佛，拜拜，晚上好，阿弥陀佛。